Welcome to the Talking the Line podcast, presented to you by Talking the Line Sports Media, giving you our best insights and analysis so you can rake in some cold hard cash on your next sports bet. Now sit on back, open up your mind, and let's cash some tickets. We can't thank you enough for joining us. We hope you enjoy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates and gamblers, far and wide. Welcome in to episode number 78, this MLB All-Star Break Special Edition of the Talking the Line podcast. Hey, thank you so much for taking a few moments out of your day to come and kick it with the crew on this beautiful Monday of bets. Now, going to be some limited bets, but we got plenty of stuff to talk about and some lines to talk about. So before we talk those lines and dive deep into the analysis and trends and everything we got for you today, please take a few moments to smash that subscribe button on whatever platform you are currently ingesting the TTL Pod on. If you are watching on YouTube, you might as well hit that notification bell over there as well so you never miss the start of a live show. But if you are a fan of the audio version, make sure you hit the subscribe button there as well, because we always release the audio version of the pod after every live show is over. Next item up on the docket, if you got a couple extra seconds and you could be so kind, please go ahead, hit that like button, leave us a comment down below, leave us a rating, all that good stuff. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it when you do, and it only helps us make TTL Sports Media bigger and better for each and every one of you. And last but not least, head on over to this episode's description where you can locate the Talking the Line link tree. It's the first link you're going to see there, and within that link tree, you can locate all of the TTL Crew's content so you can consume it however and whenever you please. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful gambling people, and anyone in between, maybe you're just a fan of the MLB, joining us on the TTL Pod for the first time, you stumbled upon this show. Once again, thank you so much for choosing to hang out with the TTL crew for about an hour to 2 hours or so. Who knows how long we're going to ramble on here today, but we got a lot of stuff to get into. Now, I keep saying we. You see me, your humble host, Colton, Colt 45 Soroka. If I didn't mention that right off the top, we got another guy in here with me. The guy that I got to bring along with me on every single TTL Pod episode because he is the other half of Talking the Line Sports Media. A young man who I was hoping would wear his White Sox shirt today as his favorite team, but decided to rep Chicago either way. A little bit of drink, local brewery somewhere in there. However, let me bring in the co-host of the Talking the Line podcast. If you didn't know, his White Sox fandom runs thicker than blood, and I'm sure we will be talking about it plenty today. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the degenerate gambling legend himself, Mr. Riley RMags Magnuson. Partner, how you doing over there today, pal?
My man, I'm feeling great. I'm ready for this special edition. One of our first, maybe our first special edition episode in podcast history. So I am juiced for that. I love diving into these types of things. And, refreshed after a nice long weekend. Some solid-ass sports, sports events going on. So I got nothing to complain about today. We've got the Derby tonight I'm juiced for. So all positive vibes coming through this side of the table.
Hey, I love to hear it. No complaints in that department, and you will find none here either. Great weekend. Had a nice day yesterday. We don't have a recap graphic for you, but myself and Mr. Mags both had a solid day on the books. One for the first time in a very long time. Very, very solid day. We're looking to turn things around here in the second half of the MLB season, and we got a lot of trends and analysis and stuff to dive into, but for yesterday, I went 9-4. Mags went 6-5. So quick little math there across the board for you. You got 15-9. And then grand total units, I went up 5.29, and you went up .53 either way, still
is green,
positive
baby.
units. So for you there who also like an additional quick bit of math, you got 5.82 units there for your Sunday of bets.
right.
If you decided to tell along with the TTL crew, which I hope you did because it was a solid day across the board. But how about today? What do we got rolling today? We keep telling you guys MLB Special Edition. What's coming with this Special Edition? Well, partner, you said it a little bit here at the top. Home Run Derby this evening. The whole fanfare and festivities kicks off right at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Sounds about right.
And the Home Run Derby officially starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're watching in Central Standard Time, you know now, or if you're somewhere else, do the math on whatever time zone you're in. And there you go. There you have it. Well, we got that to dive into, so we are going to dive through the sports books that are available in Illinois, whatever ones are available in your state if you're listening in a different state. We're going to dive through all the props, outright winners, different things in between. We're going to go some key trends and stats from previous year's home run derbies. My partner has dove deep into some numbers there. He's got some stuff to bring you guys on that end of things. That's not all we're covering today. We got way more to talk about outside of just the home run derby, ladies and gentlemen. After we cover all of that action, we got another betting market to dive into. We're going into the futures. We're going to talk World Series winners. We're going to talk league winners, division winners, award winners, MVP, Cy Young, all of the above. And then we might talk a little standings currently, where we see some teams going, all of that jazz. So that'll be some betting action, some bets that we'll be taking today out of the home run derby, and then some possible future plays as well if you want to play along with us there. But we want to give you some extra value as well. So for the third segment, if you will, of today's special edition, we are going to dive into all of the stats, trends, analysis, everything that we utilize as handicappers to win some bets, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
We will be diving into all types of different things that we utilize. We will give you a couple of sites that we like to use, some different things that we have found. I can't even really get into all of it because we have so much to dive into, and we wanted to bring this to you to help you guys have a successful second half of the MLB season, kind of take a look at some key trends, key thoughts, key pitchers, key teams, everything in between. We are covering it today, so make sure you stay all the way for the final segment, once again, if you will, of the first half of the show. We're covering all stats and trends, everything in between. Well, it wouldn't be an episode of the TTL Pod, partner, if we didn't bring you the second half of the show, the rants and reactions.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got some hot takes to bring you. We got the UFC 264 this past weekend happened. We got plenty of nonsense to talk about there. A little bit of NBA to get into. Game 3 happening last night between the Bucks and Suns. Suns in 4, no more. Plenty of action to talk about there as well. And then we might have a little bit of additional stuff to rant and react on in between. And then you know the deal. Give you something a little additional to close out the show. My motivation minutes, a little extra inspiration, give you a little kick in the tush, get you through this Monday and right on into the week. Giving you a message on, came up with this just a little bit while before the pod, and we started talking about it. Stop assuming, start pursuing. That's what my message is on today. So I'll let you spin on that for a little while, but make sure you stick around for the very end of the show for my motivation minutes, get you a little extra inspiration in addition to all of the analysis and everything we are going to be covering today. So, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful gambling people, I suggest you strap in, because right now we are cutting the nonsense, cutting the banter, and stopping the drama that you could go to every single other sports media outlet and get. Every other day except today, you come to the TTL Pod for the Stone Cold Locks and running tickets to the window all day and night long with the TTL crew. Well, I guess we might have a few tickets to run to the window today.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe.
I plan on it.
I do as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a fan, a regular comer of the TTL Pod, as weird as that sounds, I tried to find a quick word there. As weird,
wasn't it?
That was not fucking it. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to look a little bit different today. Not going to have a bunch of the lower thirds and upper thirds. We're just going to be here talking to you and diving deep into everything that's going on right now. So first things first, ladies and gentlemen, we told you the deal. We told you what we're doing. Let's get into the home run derby today.
Oh, yeah, baby.
My friend. All right. So if you've been following along on the Talking the Line socials, you've seen that we have put out the contestants, everything out like that. So once again, the contestants for tonight, let me pull up my sports book, get everything rocking and rolling for this evening's home run derby. Okay, here we go. So once again, Shohei Ohtani coming in at plus 240. Joey Gallo plus 420, Pete Alonso plus 450, Matt Olson plus 600, Juan Soto plus 800, Trevor Story plus 800, Salvador Perez plus 15, and rounding out the pack, Trey Mancini plus 1500.
Alrighty.
So, first things first here. I mean, it's the obvious bet. It's the obvious play. We're here for a winner. That's why we do this thing called sports. Sir, I'll let you kick it off. Who are you feeling for the outright winner of the 2021 kicking off the All-Star break home run derby?
So the elephant in the room is that this is a public play. Everyone's going to be hammering this in, and I have to ride it with them, man. I got to go Shohei at plus 240. The guy's swing is built for this. Not to say that nobody else is in that same category, but the way he's hitting the ball right now, the way his swing, just the trajectory of his swing path, I don't see any way he doesn't just absolutely destroy every single baseball that comes his way. I mean,
yeah.
The way I know a lot of people were surprised that it was plus 240, and the argument for that would be, the other 7 guys in this contest also know how to hit baseballs professionally, and they also have the basically the same circumstances to hit it. So that's what the argument for that is. But I still got to go Ohtani at plus 240, my man. Where are you at?
I pretty much echo every sentiment that you just said, my friend.
Because I can't bring myself to take anyone else.
I mean, he's in Electric Factory, and he now, obviously, we all know he owns the home run record, most from a Japanese-born player in MLB history, past Hideki Matsuyama, or not Hideki Matsuyama, that's a golfer. Who did he pass?
Hideki Matsui.
Hideki Matsui, goodness gracious. Wrong sport, Hideki Matsui. Either way, I think that he gets this here tonight. However, we're not just going to give you some public plays. Here's what everybody's playing. That's the show. See you later. Have a great day. So, obviously, one thing that I did want to make you guys aware of, if you are Barstool Sportsbooks users, they do have 2 boosts right now. Our girl, Megan making money. Yes, that's right, our girl. If you guys are just finding out about her through Barstool, we have, I don't want to say we're super tight, super connected with her, but we have a pretty solid networking relationship with Megan. Awesome. Congratulated her up and down for getting this spot with Barstool. I know sometimes she pops in the show, so if you ever see this, Megan, thank you so much for all of your support throughout our beginning of the journey, and we're always here as you start your new journey, and congratulations again. Either way, why did I mention Megan making money? Well, Barstool Sportsbook has a nice boost for her. She is now a member of the team, so they got a boost for her coming into Home Run Derby, and obviously got to get things kicked off for her. So she has a home run boost for Joey Gallo. I got to get signed into this sportsbook just so I can tell you everything going on here. So she has Joey Gallo to win the 2021 Home Run Derby. It is at plus 450, like I told you. She's got it boosted up to plus 550. So if you just want to put a 5 spot on it, it'll return you 27.50, just a little bit of a sweat, or a 10 spot will turn you $55 right back around. So either way, I did also see on there this morning, which it does say it's closed in my bet slip now, so I'll have to look into this while we're doing this as well. But they had Ohtani to win the Home Run Derby. It was at plus 350, and then they boosted it up to plus 400, I do believe.
I have to imagine
but that wasn't
got flooded.
But that wasn't right. Well, maybe that too, but it wasn't at plus 350.
Right.
And now it's completely gone off of the odds boost.
So yeah, either they messed it up or people flooded it to the point where there was too much liability, which I wouldn't be surprised if there were.
Right. And then outside of that, there are no other props on Barstool Sportsbook. But I do believe, I am 150%. I got a little bit of bonus cash on there. I'm going to go ahead and hammer in old Megan Making Money's play right now. I'm going to get rid of that and back in making money. Wager placed as we speak. So backing her on FanDuel or Barstool Sportsbook, no longer FanDuel.
Right.
But getting into that competitor, sorry, we got to get into it because we are a non-biased betting show. Any boost, no boost on FanDuel Sportsbook as that goes. And one final thought wanted to have on outright winner. You know, the hometown kid playing in the hometown park.
Definitely
the dark horse. Trevor Story, plus 800 odds for playing at Coors Field is not a bad thing at all. So that might be a little bit of my long shot there play there. But yeah, I think I got to add Shohei Ohtani to the bet slip in addition to that.
I do like Joey Gallo, though. I mean, I said it last week towards the end of the week. It might have been Thursday. My prediction for the finalists was Ohtani versus Gallo.
So it's funny that you said that. I actually had that in my bet slip, and I accidentally just deleted it. But if you like in the final, Ohtani versus Gallo, you're getting excellent odds on that. Plus 450 right now to have those two duking it out.
I don't know that I'll take that, though. Chances are, and typically how these go, the top two favorites, at least one of them tends to struggle at some point, whether it's the first round or the second round.
Sure.
So I don't like that one as much as far as value goes. I would say, it's not a bad play to pick both Ohtani and Gallo, honestly, because if either one wins, you're getting profit as long as you put the same amount on there. So
absolutely,
I might like that one as well. Another one that I was interested in, FanDuel's got the first round matchups up.
Yes, I was going to get into that. Before we get into that, one final thought on the finalist.
Okay.
Any additional ones you liked as far as the finalists? If you like Shohei, another good potential play, Matt Olson might be a dark horse. Ohtani versus Olson right now is plus 600 on FanDuel Sportsbook, so not a bad addition.
That's a dark horse for sure.
That's a dark horse.
He's just a name that out in Oakland they don't get a ton of attention, so he kind of flies under the radar.
And then another one, if you like my dark horse play in addition to Ohtani, so a little Ohtani Trevor Story action, you're getting even better. You're getting that at plus 950 odds. So I'm a big fan of that. Any of those finalist matchups you like there, partner?
Yeah, kind of what you're saying, and kind of to echo what I was saying already. It's tough when it's typically doesn't go that the top two favorites end up in the finals together. So I'm still going to have to ride with Ohtani, but that like you said, that Ohtani Trevor Story isn't bad. Ohtani Olson by no means is an issue. So I think I'll be right there. I mean, I'm not going to be hammering those in, but those ones are at least worth a look there. And I don't really have, like, Trey Mancini, I don't see doing too much in this one.
I don't see him doing much, but I also don't see him just going out and sucking a fat one. I think he'll have a decent night as well. I think we're in for actually a really good
this is my favorite All-Star in any sport, all the All-Star events, and that includes the games. This is my favorite one.
Absolutely.
But, Pete Alonso is one guy that I wouldn't overlook.
He's the only one mashing the ball on the Mets right now.
Yeah,
so.
But he does have to, I think in the second round, he would have to go through Ohtani if obviously they meet there. So. But I do love him in the first round over Salvador Perez. So
sure. Okay, so let's good segue into that. They do have the Derby matchups as well on FanDuel Sportsbook. So I do, as far as some good value, your first round, you got Ohtani and Soto. Not really any value there. Ohtani's minus 215 right now, so nothing really crazy to look at there.
Sure.
But if you do like Salvador Perez, I know me and you talked about it a few episodes back. He might struggle in Coors Field with his batting style and just his swing path and stuff like that. But if you do like him, he's at plus 188 as a dog right now against Pete Alonso.
So one thing I liked, they actually let you parlay these first round matchups up.
Get the shit out of here.
So I was interested in a little Ohtani, Pete Alonso first round, both of them around minus 225. Jam them together, you get plus 108 on Ohtani, Pete Alonso first round.
That's not bad at all.
I like that a lot.
That's not bad at all. Okay, so a little Ohtani Alonso two-legger.
Which now that I still like that, but Juan Soto, I wish he was up against somebody other than Ohtani in the first round.
Because he's
Juan Soto ain't going to be a rollover in my opinion. I don't think,
at all.
Man.
And then your next first round matchup, Gallo versus Story. Gallo's right at minus 180 favorite right now.
I do like Gallo's swing. I think is meant for this, but like we are saying, Story as a dark horse in his home park.
Plus 148.
I'm staying away from that first round matchup at the very least.
I don't know. And then you got Olsen versus Mancini. Olsen minus 205 favorite, Mancini plus 168 dog. These are the two guys that I believe both of them kind of squeaked in there.
Yeah.
They're kind of under the radar guys. Both can mash the cover off the ball.
Sure.
I think this might be the most interesting matchup of the first round here.
Yeah.
I don't think Olsen should be that big of a favorite. I think this should be a little closer to a pick'em.
I think so too.
This might be worth a look on Mancini for the price you're getting. Hey, I don't know. Maybe the books know a little more than we do there. So
yeah, because I wouldn't even go smashing in a 4-leg favorites. There's a very good chance that one of these dogs is going to shock us, honestly.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, quick mention as well. It is a Matilda Monday, so if Matilda does appear randomly, Matilda, she is not paying attention whatsoever right now. She is perusing around the TTL production studio, so if she does make an appearance, there you go. You are forewarned. Short disclaimer. If you're allergic to cats, I suggest you leave now. Gotcha. All right, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it for most of the home run derby. That's about everything we got. Quick run through the bet slip. Oh, one final one as well. They do have on FanDuel Sportsbook over-under for the longest home run hit. Now, partner, you did have some stats as far as the longest home runs hit in history and stuff like that. So lay a few of those down, and then I'll tell these guys where the total's at and kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, so this one is probably a little bit more of a fun play, if I'm being totally honest.
Sure.
I don't know where the value lies in this one because at least the last 5-6 years in the StatCast era, which I believe goes back to 2015 or so, longest home run in the StatCast era in these derbies is 513 by Aaron Judge, and in fact, the top 5-6 is owned by Judge and Giancarlo Stanton.
Okay.
Who all have hit 500-foot home runs, but none at 519. Now we are in Coors Field, so I don't know how much you put on that as far as how many extra feet. And then it did get into the pre-StatCast era, 2014 and before. It was all estimates, so there was never a concrete this guy hit 530, but there were estimated that in 2000, 2002, Sammy Sosa had a couple that were around 520. Frank Thomas back in 94, same thing. Josh Hamilton in 2008, that ridiculous performance. So it's not a super clear one. I don't want to. It's no fun to pick the under in that one, in my opinion. That's not fun at all.
Sure.
But I would say the value might be on the under in that one.
So from what you're saying, the value is on the under. From what I'm seeing, courtesy of Steve Buchanan of DraftKings Sportsbook, he put out today the average distance in 2021 of all of the contestants' home runs.
Okay.
Pete Alonso has the farthest average distance this year and is only at 441 feet.
Right.
Now, granted, that's a lot different when you have kind of meatball pitches coming in there, and maybe you're hitting a home run off of a down and away slider that you throw the bat on, whatever the case might be there. However, if you're going to play this 519, the reason you're thinking you're going to play it is because of Ohtani. You're thinking he's going to have an absolute piss missile that might even leave the stadium, for crying out loud. However, he is the lowest home run average distance so far this year at 404 feet out of all of the contestants. The next shortest below him is Trevor Story at he is not the lowest. I do apologize. It's not ranked in order. Trey Mancini is the shortest, 382 feet, while Ohtani is at 404. So quite the difference from 404 to 519. But then you have Trevor Story, 419 average in Coors Field, 436 average. So
I think the value is on the under, although that's obviously, if it's not that much fun. You want to be rooting for a mammoth home run.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're getting the value there. It's minus 105, just some of the previous years.
I mean, to put it into context, and maybe I'm just a homer for this one, in 2016, Giancarlo Stanton put together one of the most ridiculous home run derby performances I've ever seen. He had 19 of the 20 longest home runs, and his longest was barely cracked. I don't even know if it cracked 500. It was right around 500. And you go back and watch those highlights, and you're like, that dude must have hit at least a couple 550, right?
Right.
No.
Not even close.
So, yeah, that number seems a little bit inflated. But then again, like I said, I don't know how much you value Coors Field adding to that number.
Sure. Well, one quick run through the bet slip before we move right along into the future markets here. I obviously like Shohei Ohtani, the crowd favorite. Joey Gallo as my number 2, and then my dark horse as Trevor Story. Then a couple of matchups, finalist matchups that I do like, have some good value. Ohtani versus Gallo, Ohtani versus Olsen, and Ohtani versus Story. Ohtani versus Story would probably be my favorite out of those just based on the value. And then grand total feet, longest home run hit today, 519.5 over under. I'm going to take the under 519.5. I think that it's just the public's going to be hammering it just based off of Shohei, and I don't think it's even going to get close here today. You mentioned some of the best performances in history, and they didn't even come close to it. So I know Ohtani's on a different level, but I'm going to go ahead and take the under 519.5 here today.
So for me, I'm going to keep it simple. There's a lot of things that I like, but as far as things that I'm definitely playing, I'm playing Ohtani plus 240, and then that other one that I really like is the first round two-leg matchup or two-leg parlay of Ohtani and Alonso in the first round, combined right now at plus 108. I do like Ohtani versus Gallo, but I'm probably going to stay away from that. Tough to pinpoint who's exactly going to make it to the finals there. So I'm going to stay away from that one altogether.
Sure. And then final closing thought on the home run derby. We said the Olsen versus Mancini matchup is going to be a little bit of a toss-up, a little bit weird. I don't think Olsen should be that much of a favorite, but if you like these three parlayed, if you like my partners Alonso and Ohtani at the plus 108, if you add Joey Gallo, if you're also a fan of Joey Gallo, you're kicking it up to plus 224. Okay. So getting a little additional value. You obviously know a quick little 10 spot on that, little sweat, little $24. But why would we do that? Put $100 down. You got $240 going on if you're that confident. So that would be a nice three-legger to check out as well. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The first segment, if you will, of today's MLB Special Edition, episode number 78 of the TTL Pod, July 12th, 2021. Thought I forget, didn't you? But now you know. You ain't even got to look at your calendar. That does it for the Home Run Derby. Make sure you follow us on the Action Network app. You can probably, I don't know if they'll have any of these markets open or anything. Either than that, then we'll put out some plays on Twitter and different stuff like that where we officially hammer in. But make sure you follow us there. And then once normal betting resumes, follow us on the Action Network app. I am at cash_with_Colt, and Riley is at RMags, all caps. And then you can follow the best bets of the day from every single TTL pod at Talking the Line. Super easy for you. Follow us all there. You get all of our best bets of the day, everything on the pod and everything outside of it. But you know the drill. Let's keep this show moving and grooving right on down the tracks. We have now the futures betting markets.
Aha.
This will be the second segment of today's show, ladies and gentlemen. So the faux segment, if you will, nothing labeled, kind of a free-flowing episode here today, but the structure, if you will. Let's dive into the futures betting market. So I'm going to stick on FanDuel Sportsbook. Okay. This will be where I'll be getting the odds and everything from. They do have World Series winner, league winner, division winner, and player futures all available at the current time. So with all that being said, how about we start at the bottom of the food chain? Okay. A little division winner action, if you will. Right now, we have in first place in every division for the National League, NL East, New York Mets, the Central, Milwaukee Brewers, and the West, San Francisco Giants. As for the American League, in the East, Boston Red Sox, the Central, Chicago White Sox, and the West, Houston Astros. Right now, all of those favorites are pretty steep favorites on the FanDuel Sportsbook app outside of the Boston Red Sox.
Correct.
The AL East right now is pretty much a doggone toss-up. They are at 55 and 36 right now. The Rays are only a game and a half back at 53 and 37. Mm-hmm. Then biting on their tails, the Toronto Blue Jays at 45 and 42, and the Yankees, who have had an absolute colossal meltdown of a season, are in fourth place in the AL East right now, 46 and 43, 8 games out of first place. Gracious. So quite interesting to see what's going to happen there. We've talked about the Red Sox quite a lot, partner, and I'm going to stick with the AL East here. You know, I think that they have a very good shot. They need to clean some things up around the pitching rotation. They had couple of rough games against the Phillies this weekend that hurt that. And then the Tampa Bay Rays had a great series against Toronto over the weekend. So For the value that you're getting, Boston is at minus 115 right now, and the Rays are at plus 155. If you're confident enough in that, which I think I am, the Rays are only a game and a half out of first right now. I think that they have a massive turnaround in the second half of the season. Could potentially get Glasnow back by end of August, early September. We'll see what happens there. They have a couple of guys who I think will start to really, really find themselves as far as like McClanahan, Yarborough here into the second half. For the value you're getting, I think I might have to say early Tampa Bay Rays taking the AL East and making a run again. I just think there's too many holes in the Red Sox pitching rotation for them to make any type of a run. And if they can't put up runs early and they go down early, they are not one of those teams that can battle back. It hasn't been that so far this year.
So at that plus 155, I like that number, but I like what you mentioned there at the end. This current iteration of the Red Sox team, I think I would be right there with you. But I do think that pitching help is on the way in their starting rotation. I talked about it the last couple of weeks. Chris Sale could be coming back. If he comes back even 80-90% of what he once was, that's a monster boost to get Garrett Richards or someone else out of that lineup.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't also shock me if they made a play at, maybe not an ace starting pitcher, but at least someone to improve that rotation and get one of those other guys that are kind of struggling out of there. So I'm actually going to lay the minus 115 on the Red Sox because in my heart, I do believe that the Red Sox are not only going to add, I don't think it's too much of because I'm a big Chris Sale fan. Obviously, he was with my White Sox. But even aside from that, I don't think it's much of a homer play with him in there. Because like I said, I think people are forgetting how damn good he was when he was 100% healthy. And like I said, 80-90% of Chris Sale is still at least a number 2 pitcher in a rotation. So I think that would be a big boost. And then another, even if it's a third guy in a type rotation arm that they could add, I think that would be a massive boost for him. So I'm gonna lay the minus 115 on the Red Sox for this one.
All right. Well, my partner's going with the Red Sox, and I'm going with the Rays for the AL East right now. Not going to officially lock anything in, but that's where I'm leaning so far right now. If you guys are big future bettors, that's where we would have our value line.
Right.
Sticking with the AL, though, partner, let's get through the Central and the West here. Obviously, the Central is pretty much all but a wrap with your White Sox. They currently right now hold an 8-game lead in the Central. The closest team are the Indians right now, 45-42, 8 games out of first place. And then you got to look past the Tigers, Twins, and Royals. Tigers in third place could have made a little bit of a move here this past weekend had they played well against the Twins. But I know you can speak pretty heavily on the Central, but outside of the Indians, Tigers 15 games out of first place, and then all the way down at the bottom, the Royals are 18 games out of first place. So Twins and Tigers tied at 15. But as far as your thoughts on the Central, I mean, there's no value whatsoever, partner. Your Sox are at minus 3,000. What do you think outside of that?
Yeah, because I mean, as you mentioned, this White Sox team, the last week or so, from what they've obviously played some mediocre to bad teams, but the way their lineup was stacked this last week or two with all these injuries that they've sustained, this is as bad as that lineup's going to get, and they still managed to improve on that lead.
Right.
And so with them still kind of treading water like that, but also you have to imagine, and obviously it's not even imagining, they're going to get some guys back. Eloy Jimenez is coming back within the month, so like you said, there's no value on this one at all. The Indians, if the Indians were playing like the Tigers were, that might be a different story. But they are in an absolute free fall right now. Cleveland is. They have too many injuries to their pitching staff, and even if they get some guys back, it's going to be too little, too late. It would have, like you said, if the Tigers had a better weekend. I'm not saying you should, sprinkle anything on the Tigers. There at least would have been some type of path that you could chalk up that, hey, maybe they, since May 8th, they're like 35-23 or something like that, and the White Sox have so many injuries. Maybe you could sprinkle a few dollars on them, but even still.
So what you're saying, there's no value and pretty much there's nowhere else to go. The White Sox are pretty much taking the Central. As for the West, Astros right now, minus 800. It looks pretty much like an outright win for them. The Oakland Athletics are hot on their tail. Only 3.5 games out of first place. So right now, the Athletics are at plus 500 to win the West in the American League. So if you're a fan of the Oakland Athletics turning it up here in the second half, it is not unworth a look to add that plus 500 Athletics outright winner to your bet slip. Who knows? Maybe they do a little something here and upset the Stros.
I'm not totally off of it, man. I might be thinking of a sprinkle there. Like I said, 3.5 back. They're good at home and on the road. I think they're going to heat up even more at home. They've got a pitching rotation that I think could heat up. Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas, James Capriella, and those guys could heat up and get some things together. You got Matt Olson, Matt Chapman in that lineup. I mean, the Astros lineup can stick it, and they've got a solid starting rotation, so I don't know if I'm sprinkling, but it's at least worth a second look there because that plus 500, 3.5 games back, that doesn't sound terrible to me.
It's great value. And another look here also, the Angels are coming in above the Mariners. The Angels are at plus 5,000, or the Angels are at plus 5,000. Mariners are at plus 6,000 right now. And you'd actually be surprised to know that the Mariners are third place in the West right now, 48 and 43. They're 7 games back, but still a little bit in the hunt. If they have a good second half here, if they possibly can start stringing those bats together again, they have a potential. In the Angels, they have battled injuries all year, and it really, really impacted them. 45 and 44 right now, 9 games out of first place. I don't think that the Angels really have anything that they can do here to make a postseason run. It looks all but a wrap,
right?
And it really sucks for a lot of the star power they have on that team.
Right. You would need Mike Trout back. You would need them to make some type of push for another starting pitching arm, which at the record they have doesn't seem likely at all.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't think there's much value there. And that Mariners being a little bit behind, this Mariners team has been playing really well lately, but that offense is a little shaky at times, and I think they've had some nice, timely hitting, some luck on their side the last couple of weeks. So I think I'm not saying they fade. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but I don't think there's any value with them either.
No, sir. So that does it for the American League. Let's move it into the National League. 3 divisions, Central, East, and West. Let's kick it off with the East first things first. Surprisingly, New York Mets having an absolutely electric season so far. That pitching rotation has done wonders for them. Actually, have some stuff to talk about them later as well. But they're 47 and 40 overall right now in first place in the East. Closest team is the Phillies at 500, 44 and 44, 3.5 games back right now. The Phillies are actually at plus 500 right with the Braves. The Braves are 44 and 45 after that loss yesterday to the Marlins, and losing Ronald Acuna for the season. That really hurts.
It feels like the final nail in the coffin almost.
Yeah, it does. And the Phillies, after that series against the Red Sox over the weekend, I think they might have a shot to make up a little bit of ground here, only being 3.5 games back. And it's been the MO of the Mets to let things go here at the closing mark of the season. Now, they did beef up their lineup. They have done some things, but they still are battling injuries, and who knows how much that lineup is going to come back by postseason. So if you like the Mets to choke and the Phillies to sneak in the back door, you're getting the Phillies at plus 500 right now to win the NL East. So
yeah, I've been one of the guys that's been kind of on not the Braves bandwagon, but the Braves wagon of, they're about to start figuring things out. They'll get some guys back, but that pitching rotation, even the guys that have come back aren't really shining the way I thought they would. And now, like I said, Acuna coming out is kind of the nail in the coffin. So I don't think they make any comeback. The Phillies, as you mentioned, they're a scrappy team, but I'm all Mets in this one, my man.
Absolutely. All right. Well, move it right along into the Central. Cubby fans tuning into today's show, I apologize. This hurts to really talk about. Man, oh man, I thought how the how the season started and where we're at now, quite the colossal collapse, if you will. Speaking of colossal collapse, it'll pretty much take that for the Brewers to lose hold of the NL Central with the way they've been playing. Partner's shaking his head because, yes, it would be a colossal collapse. If that were to happen, it is very, very possible that could happen because the Reds made up some ground on them over the weekend, and the Reds are looking like a hot team right now. Cardinals and Cubs are tied for third right now, both 44 and 46, 8 games back, 4 games behind second place Reds right now. So we'll see what happens. I don't know that the Cubs are going to be able to make up any ground with how they're playing. We'll see what happens come second half of the season here. I don't know with what I've been seeing, what's happening. The rotation still hasn't figured out a lot of their holes yet. So I don't know what's going on with the lineup. I don't know if we're going to be selling. What the hell's happening there? So it's kind of a little bit of a running right now between the Brewers and Reds, I would say. And I think the Reds have a solid solid shot to get the first place for the first time in a long time with how that lineup is sticking the ball. You're getting them at plus 400 right now, 4 games out of first place in the Central. I also think that's worth a look right now.
That's kind of why I was shaking my hand. 4 games in, a mountain to climb, and that Reds offense has got some explosion, man. Not to mention, I think they might have enough starting pitching. Not quite the dominance of, the Brewers got the two-headed monster of Woodruff and Burns that might carry them. But, the Reds, you've got Miley, and Gray. 3 guys that, are they on the same level as those 2 guys from the Brewers that I mentioned? Probably not, but I think they might have enough to, keep them afloat and keep them in these games. And I think you're going to start seeing a little more consistency out of the Reds. And I'm actually I'm maybe not locking this in right now on the spot, but I'm taking the Reds to come back and win that division, my man.
I like where your head's at, and as much as the Brewers annoy me, being a Cubs fan, I wouldn't mind as much as I hate seeing the Reds do it, as much as they annoy me too. The Reds deserve it. They put together a hell of a team, and they haven't made a deep postseason run in quite some time.
Yeah, and we've seen it from this Brewers team. They have these stretches where they're, they look like they were setting the world on fire, and then they kind of come back to earth. That lineup isn't bad or isn't terrible. It's obviously decent, but I don't think it's this lineup that's going to consistently be putting up runs the same way that the Reds have. And like I said, I think the Reds might just have enough pitching to keep them over the edge there.
Sure. I think you're spot on with that. Well, last but not least, let's wrap up the National League division winners here with the NL West. Right now, as far as standing goes, Dodgers have a pretty firm hold, or the Giants right now, I apologize, have a pretty, from what it looks like, hopefully firm hold on the West. They're one of my top teams in the NL outside of the Cubbies. They're at 57-32 right now in first place. Dodgers right behind them, 56-35, 2 games back right now. And then the Padres, everybody's favorite this year, right behind their tail, 53-40, 6 games out of first place right now. So the Dodgers actually being 2 games back, they are favored right now to win the West at -200, and the Giants at +300 to win the West. Everybody knows it. Everybody thinks it. This is kind of the Giants' MO. They have a great start to the season. They play well for a week or 2 after the break, and then they absolutely fall apart. The wheels fall off, and their postseason hopes are all but dead. And that's kind of what the books are thinking. That's kind of what the books are
5-6 years.
Yeah, these are what the books are showing me with these odds. But I think this is a very different Giants team. I think this Dodgers team has struggled a little bit more than some of their numbers would show. They've just been quiet over there in the West,
at
all
least
season
to their
long,
standards. Sure,
to their standards, and they just kind of look like a normal run-of-the-mill team this year. So I think, man, that +300 Giants have some serious value, especially with the 2-game lead going into the break. It's worth a look. It's worth an addition to my bet slip. Giants +300 to win the West.
Yeah, definitely worth the look. I'm not even going to go out on the limb and say that the Padres aren't worth the look. +400. They're 20-21 on the road right now. I think that record's going to flip a little bit, and you start seeing them put out some wins on the road there.
Sure.
And, it is a 6-game deficit, but that team is too damn good to at least not take a look at. And an under 500 record on the road, that doesn't sound, I'm a little surprised to see that. I think that flips, and you start to see them, not being a team to be, one of the best teams on the road, but I think they at least flip that to 500 pretty easily here. So I'm going to be looking at the Padres +400.
Sure enough, and it wouldn't be an episode of the TTL Pod without me spilling a little something on the old shirt. So, you tuned into the right place here today, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. There you have it. Mine and RMags thoughts on division winners. As far as league winners, no real need to dive deep into that. We kind of hit everything pretty much where we're thinking as far as winners there within the division. As far as we can dive into it a little bit here. As far as the league winners right now, your top 3 or top 4 for the AL: Astros, White Sox, Red Sox, Rays, and Athletics. The best is Astros +200, obviously, and then the Athletics all the way down at +850. I don't mind the White Sox, worth a look. I know you'll probably say that, my friend, as a homer. +330 right now to win the American League. Excuse me. Also, with your Red Sox there too, +500, not unworth a look as well. And then the Rays +700. I think the top 4 teams right there, Astros, Sox, Red Sox, and the Rays, are all worth a look.
Yeah, pretty adequately priced, I would say. And like you mentioned, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I'm gonna go on my box and say the Sox, just because of all the additions that they're going to get back, and put some life into that lineup. And as you mentioned, that Red Sox team, if I'm is trying to stay as unbiased as possible, I'm going Red Sox because of all the things I mentioned with their division. I think they get some pitching help on the way, and that offense is damn good.
Sure. All right, and then wrapping it up over in the National League, Dodgers are the favorite to win it outright, plus 190. But the sneaky Mets right now in second, plus 450, worth a look and a half, ladies and gentlemen. The books are seeing something there to be able to put them in that spot. Right behind them, Padres plus 450, Giants plus 650, Brewers plus 650, and then the next favorite, Atlanta Braves plus 2,500.
Wowza. So what's your pick on this? Because I've got a little bit, I might have a little bit of a surprise on this one.
Man, I got to go with my secondary team because I think that they are rewriting the narrative here in 2021, and that's the San Francisco Giants at plus 650.
Kind of give a repeat to the beginning of the decade, a little 2010, 13, 15. I could be wrong on my years there, but
either way,
a little bit of a repeat of the beginning of this last decade. I'm not. That's not my pick, but I wouldn't be shocked, man. Their lineup is good enough. They've got the the two-headed monster at the front of their rotation. Mm-hmm. If the other guys in that rotation can figure it back out to how that we're starting the season off of. Obviously Johnny Cueto. I'm blanking on my other guy there, but yeah, that's not a bad pick. I am actually, so I'm a little bit of I'm staying away from these NL West teams as far as at least picking one of them, because seems like these three teams are going to make the playoffs, but this year we are back to the previous format of the playoffs of the wild card teams playing a one-and-done game. Mm-hmm. Chances are, and it's still up in the air who's going to win that division, and so this 2 and 3 teams are going to be playing each other in a one-and-done.
Right.
So your NL West pick could be done with the blink of an eye in those playoffs, so I'm staying away from them, and I'm going to the plus 450 New York Mets to make it to the World Series, my man.
Wow, okay. But I actually don't mind that play either,
man.
With their rotation for sure.
On top of what I just said, the rotation obviously, but I do think that they are going to pick up some bats here at the deadline, and not to mention
they have to
want to.
They have 3/4 of their starting lineup on the injured list. They have to do something if they want to continue to hold this lead.
Right, and not to mention, I think Francisco Lindor is going to break out in the second half. He's been getting better and better. Now finally here in June, I believe his average is at least over 300. Obviously, average isn't the the final stamp of where you need to be, but I think he's going to break out here in the second half, and I think they add at least maybe not an all-star caliber bat, but at least 1 or 2 borderline to get them over that edge, and at least get them to be putting up some runs for those starting pitchers, man.
Well, if you like where my partner's at, his White Sox and the New York Mets, you're getting the White Sox as a World Series winner right now at plus 850, and you are getting the New York Mets at plus 900. So either way, if you put down an equal bet and you like that, and either one of them teams make it to the World Series, you got an additional winner there, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, worth a little bit of a look there. I like where your thoughts are, partner. I like the Mets, too. If they can add some bats into that lineup, get that average back up, down from beneath the floor, I think they got a serious shot here to make a postseason run with especially how good of a lead they got right now in the East. So that's kind of all for the futures betting market. A little bit there on the World Series. Obviously, the Dodgers and the Stros coming in at the favorite, plus 400, plus 450, respectively. Then the White Sox right behind them. Padres, Mets, and Red Sox are all the favorites right now. I would have to side with you, as much as it pains me to say it. I do like the White Sox, as well as they are playing at battling all of these injuries. They're about to get Eloy back, about to get Lou Bob, and then not to mention a plethora of other guys who have gone. Yasmani back. There have been so many other guys that have been impacted, and I think some guys who had a little bit of half-season struggle, I think are going to turn it around here when it comes into the second half of baseball. Mainly MVP, though. I think he starts having a little bit more success here at the plate.
Yeah, because he's been a guy that, and I've said it, I probably said he's back about 5 different times on the season, and it's not that he's...
Because he still got it. He still got it. He just can't string it together.
He just goes through some little slumps, and then he'll be scorching hot for a week or two, or decent for a week or two. And I think, like you said, I think he gets rolling. Same thing with Yohan Moncada. I think he's going to get going, because Tim Anderson finally got into the All-Star game, but he's been as consistent as can be for the lineup. So.
Yep. And that's been year over year. So I think the White Sox got a serious shot, and if you like our analysis too on the Mets, I think they got a serious doggone shot as well. So there you go.
Scrubs once it gets to the World Series, man.
So little White Sox Mets World Series. You heard it here, July 12th, 2021 on episode number 78 of the TTL Pod. If at some point in time we get to October, almost November, and it's looking like we got a little White Sox Mets World Series on the horizon, we're going to have to clip this exact spot. And if you were so kind to join us, you were part of history in the making.
Yes, sir.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. The futures betting markets for the MLB. All right. That does it for the first two segments, if you will, of the TTL Pod, episode number 78, July 12th, 2021. Beautiful Monday. Gave you some value for the home run derby here today so far. Props, outright winners, everything in between. Dove through the futures. Gave you, one final thing we didn't do, I apologize, was some awards here. One final quick look just at those. I'll just tell you some favorites. We won't have to dive too deep because we got some serious stuff to dive into here. AL MVP top 3. Shohei Ohtani minus 290. Vlad Guerrero plus 210. And the next closest, Xander Bogaerts at plus 4,000.
Yeesh.
Seems pretty doggone
Two-man
accurate to me. I think that Ohtani gets it depending on how good of a second half of the season he has. I think he's going to have to ball out, especially with how the Angels are right now and where they're at.
I think he gets it. The only way I wrote down that he wouldn't get it is if he kind of fades a little bit, and then Vlad stays to what he's been doing and leads the Jays to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If he can lead them to the playoffs, it might be a different story. But the way it currently stands, it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
I like that. I like that a lot. And then NL MVP, DeGrom leading the way, minus 105, followed by El Nino, Fernando Tatis Jr., plus 115. And then the next closest, Trey Turner, plus 2,500. Once again, two-man race.
Especially with Acuna dropping out there, too. Yeah. If he was fading a little bit
absolutely. If DeGrom can continue to pitch like he's been pitching, and he can also continue to couple with that with how he's been hitting.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that either.
It's all his.
Because I wrote down the last NL MVP to be a pitcher was Clayton Kershaw, 2014. He had a 1.77 ERA, 239 Ks. DeGrom's down at 1.08 ERA with 146 Ks right now. So he's on.
We still got 80 more games of baseball to play, boys and girls.
Exactly. So I'm going DeGrom minus 105.
I did not realize it was that good.
Right. And the thing I wrote down again, the only way Tatis, I think that number, if you're getting him at plus money, obviously there's a shitload of Tatis fans.
Sure.
But if the Mets miss the playoffs and the Padres win the division, I think that might be the only path for Tatis to kind of take him over on that one.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Most definitely. I think Tatis is worth a look just being plus money, and especially since DeGrom...
And it is very tough for a pitcher to win.
Yeah, and especially since DeGrom has the also opportunity to get the Cy Young in the NL, which it looks like he's going to get the NL Cy Young. I mean, the next closest is Brandon Woodruff at plus 1,500, and I just don't think it's possible. DeGrom is minus 1,000. There's no reason to even bet that. No reason to even talk about that. He's so doggone good.
I truly think if he were to stop the season today, I think they would still give it to him.
I think you're right as well. There's just nothing that any National League pitcher can do right now. But as for the American League, it's actually a 3-man race right now for the Cy Young. You got Garrett Cole, who post-sticky stuff has started to look a little bit better.
He was very good the other day.
He was very good, but other than that, it's looked a little weird. You also have Carlos Rodon, my man's man on the mound, the lefty. He's at plus 200 right now. And then also another Chicago White Sox, Lance Lynn at plus 380 right now. Very interesting to see two White Sox players up at the top of the Cy Young race. Next closest outside of that is a guy we haven't seen for a little while, Shane Bieber, plus 3,000. So,
well, the guy that's getting some disrespect as far as the Cy Young odds are Gibson. Where's he at?
Oh, wow. Yeah, Kyle Gibson right now, plus 4,000.
Goodness gracious. People think he's going to fade, man. And
he's proved him wrong every week.
He has proved him wrong. I think he will fade a little bit. I'm not saying to throw money at Kyle Gibson. That's not what I'm saying. But he's not quite getting the respect because at least ERA-wise, he's right up there with all of these guys. And I've been saying on Twitter, I'm still shocked that Garrett Cole is the favorite in this one because of the way he's trending. And not only that, but because it's not like his numbers before all of this small fall off. It's not like his numbers were far and away that much better than Maybe I'm a homer. I don't know, but I don't think his numbers were that much better than Carlos Rodon and Lance Lynn's, because Carlos Rodon and Lance Lynn are ahead of him in ERA and not that far behind in strikeouts. Garrett Cole's got a handful more strikeouts. I want to say his WAR is higher, but the way it's been going, I mean, if things are going the way we've been talking, how the sticky stuff, the sticky stuff policing might kind of fade a little bit, then Garrett Cole might trend back upwards, but I'm not sprinkling on Garrett Cole to win the Cy Young, my man. And maybe I'm a homer. Call me a homer, but
I'm not thinking a homer, but I think it just the MLB loves Garrett Cole. But we'll see what happens there. I don't know.
I just don't think his numbers are good enough to be minus whatever.
Yeah, and the devil's advocate, how many guys have got the Cy Young and being like, I think another guy could have gotten in there a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it would be great. I mean, you got a 2-horse race between 2 White Sox pitchers, so I mean, great for you. You get to be a homer out and see if they actually do squeak in there and can pass up Garrett Cole. I mean, like I said, 81 more games to play. It's very, very possible, my friend. So
yeah, I imagine there's going to be another 5th guy out of that picture that kind of storms into the picture as well.
Yeah, we'll see. There's no real names jumping off the page of me. One that's kind of a heartbreaking story, man. Tyler Glasnow. He was early favorite to win the AL Cy Young, and he's down at plus 6,000 now. It doesn't even look like he's going to be able to make a return. There's no chance that he'll win it. So outside of that, I mean, there's a lot of names that just there's no shot outside Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and Lance Lynn. So I think 3-horse race there. We'll see what happens. My partner thinks one of his White Sox pitchers gets it, and I think that he's spot on with that. We'll see what happens overall. Okay. So there you go. There you officially have it. All future plays and future markets that are open right now have been covered by the TTL crew on episode number 78. Now, let's wrap up the first half of the show here, partner, with what I've been dying to get into. Stats, trends, analysis, everything in between from the first half of the MLB Major League Baseball season.
Okay. All right.
So, kicking things off here, first things first. Goodness gracious, I do apologize. I had to get a little something out there. Whew. All right, back in action, good to go. All right, so some key trend stats, everything we wanted to bring you here today to wrap up the first half of the show for your viewing and knowledge pleasure. Two websites that we use that are very popular among the betting community. If you don't know about them and don't use them, well, welcome into the 21st century of betting, my friends. A lot of these are going to be coming from covers and teamrankings.com. We also are big fans of OddsShark, Baseball Reference, Fangraphs, Everything Reference. We could go on for days and days and days with all the sites that we use, but that is where most of these will come from. I'm going to go ahead and get things kicked off here today, ladies and gentlemen, for the third and final segment of the first half of the show. Trends, analysis, everything, stats in between, with everyone's favorite, something we tend to bet on a lot, and that large majority of the gambling community bets on, is the first 5 innings.
Okay.
Now, going to bring you some first 5 inning win and loss stats. I got some stats that I'll tell you about from OddsShark that I'll also give you the site that you can go directly and look a little bit more in depth. But I'm going to give you top 5 and bottom 5 overall, and then a little home away breakdown as well. And then we'll do first 5 over under. I'll get into that, a little bit of stats and trends there as well. And then wrap things up for first 5 inning stats. We'll be doing first 5 inning runs per game, overall home and away breakdown, and then first 5 inning runs per game allowed. Again, overall home and away breakdown as well. So let's get on into it, my friend. One of my favorite plays out of all of MLB is the first 5. First 5 game. So I want to give you guys some key things that I look at, some key things we look at overall across the board. So these first ones are going to be first 5 inning win-loss record, and then total money won based on a $100 better so far this season. In addition to all of that, wanted to give you the site so you can go a little bit more in depth once you get off the show or sometime in the future. It's oddsshark.com/MLB/first-5-inning-betting. So oddsshark.com/MLB/first-5 betting, but in between first 5 inning betting, there's all dashes. So there you go. There's that. Now, first 5 inning win-loss records on the season. Top 5 teams overall so far. You got the Giants coming in at number 1, 46, 27, and 13. A $100 better would be up $1,528 and 15 cents. Only playing this on the season. Just passed up your White Sox, who are now in second place, though. 48, 22, and 15 in the first 5 innings, up $1,216 and 52 cents. Houston in third place, 49, 25, and 14, up $1,177.63. Seattle in fourth, 39, 41, and 7. Not a winning record, but up $864.67 because they have been able to get a lot of plus money covers.
Right.
And then fifth and final, top 5 overall for first 5 wins. Detroit, 38, 42, and 8. Another no winning record, but have got a lot of plus money. Paulies up 632.23. Bottom 5 overall. Going to be some surprising names in here for you, and some that I think you should avoid in the first 5 innings in the second half of the season, based on what I've seen so far. The Yankees are 35, 35, and 16, down 1,242.69. Now, they're only the 5th worst. We're getting worse here. San Diego Padres, 36, 39, and 15 in the first 5 innings, down 1,389.98.
That's wild.
Something for you to think about there, ladies and gentlemen. An obvious one here, Arizona Diamondbacks, 30, 52, and 7.
Yikes.
A $100 better would be down 1,563.05. Minnesota Twins in 4th place, 29, 39, and 18 in the first 5 innings, down 1,599 and 88 cents. And wrapping up the bottom 5, first 5 inning win, not leaders because they are the bottom 5. The Cleveland Indians, 29, 42, and 14, down 1,726.79.
Gross.
So that is overall across the board. That is first 5 inning wins across the board and records. Now, how about just a little bit of split action here? We'll do the top 5 home and the top 5 on the road. So the top 5 teams in the first 5 innings for wins are the Colorado Rockies at home, 28, 12, and 8. If you only played the Colorado Rockies in the first 5 innings on the money line this season, you would be up $789.41 if you bet $100 on each one of those plays. Coming in at second, my Cubbies at home, 24, 14, and 5, up $869.74. The Detroit Tigers, 21, 18, and 4, up $664.99. San Francisco Giants, 24, 12, and 4, up $648.13. And the Toronto Blue Jays, 20, 13, and 6, up $343.93. I was surprised not to see your Sox on there. It was just because they had not won as much money. They've had some pretty steep lines. Yeah, pretty steep lines there. Top 5 away teams, though, however, might be some surprising ones here for you, too. Houston Astros, number 1 on the road in the first 5 innings, 25, 10, and 8, up $972.16. The San Francisco Giants, 22, 15, and 9 on the road, up $880.02. Seattle Mariners, once again, not a winning record, 17, 20, and 4, but up $536.66. Milwaukee Brewers, 22, 15, and 7, up $514.87. And the Oakland Athletics, 20, 14, and 6 in the first 5 innings on the road, up $489.26 based on a $100 better. So there you go. That's first 5 inning wins, loss, some key ones that I thought would be good for you guys to dive into, to know about, kind of go here into the second half. So that does it for that. But I also promised you that we would be doing a little bit of over-under action here. So little first 5 inning over-unders, because sometimes those are pretty valuable to play from time to time, depending on the pitching matchup or what you got going on. So, first 5 innings over-under. Now, this is based on the over. So, top 5 to the over. Seattle Mariners in the first 5 innings, 51, 31, and 5. Wowza. What I'm telling you here is the Seattle Mariners are a very valuable first 5 team. Going to be a couple other Mariners stats later while you will see why they are such a valuable first 5 team. Los Angeles Angels, number 2 to the over, 49, 32, and 5 in the first 5 innings. Minnesota, number 3, 48, 35, and 3. Cleveland Indians, 46, 34, and 5. And rounding it up, another team from the AL Central, Kansas City Royals, 46, 35, and 6. As for the bottom 5 to the over in the first 5 innings, ones that also might surprise you a little bit here. Miami Marlins, first overall, they will be fifth to last, 37, 43, and sixth over under in the first 5 innings. Oakland Athletics, 38, 45, and 6. The Milwaukee Brewers, 37, 47, and 5 over under. Colorado in the first 5 innings, 36, 46, and 5. Also very interesting because they've had some very, very high totals in almost all of their games so far this season. And the New York Mets, who we just talked about a bunch, 30, 47, and 6 over under so far in the first 5 innings in this season. So might be worth a look here.
Those totals for them are often low.
They are often very low, so they've been able to take care of business there. So that does it for my first 5 inning trends and analysis. Partner, anything I missed there you think that I should happen to mention? Anything additional you saw there? Anything else?
No, those last 2, I mean, were the only things that I was going to bring up for the most part. But yeah, I mean, interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually have a little bit extra to get into. I forgot.
Okay. Yeah, you got some runs per game.
Yeah, yeah, totally forgot about that. I totally forgot I told you guys I would do that. Yeah, so that does it for the that OddsShark site. Gave you the site there at the beginning. That is all over, under, and first 5 win-loss. Now, you might not always care about the win-loss because we might have some teams playing each other that the odds are kind of a little bit suspicious. So then you got to look at first 5 inning runs per game scored and runs per game allowed. So as far as runs per game in the first 5 innings go, the top 5 teams overall: Chicago White Sox with a 3.34 average, Boston Red Sox, 3.23 average. Toronto Blue Jays, 3.13 average. Houston Astros, 3.10. And the Dodgers, 3.01. Everybody else in the MLB is under 3 runs in the first 5 innings. Bottom 5 in the first 5 innings overall: Milwaukee Brewers, 2.12 scored. Miami Marlins, 2.11. Texas Rangers, 2.10. New York Mets, 1.99. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, dead ass last, 1.98 first 5 inning runs scored per game. Quick little home away splits. I won't do the bottom, but I will do the top leaders right now in the first 5 innings at home. We have the Toronto Blue Jays, 3.74. Boston Red Sox, 3.66. White Sox, 3.53. Cincinnati Reds, 3.42 average. And rounding out the top 5 at home, Los Angeles Angels, 3.22. Top 5 on the road, not surprising at all. Houston Astros with their record, they average 3.14 first 5 inning runs per game on the road. Chicago White Sox as well, 3.14 average. Los Angeles Dodgers, 3.04. Washington Nationals, 2.86 on the road. And Minnesota Twins, 2.83 on the road. So some teams there that you could probably deduct that they were going to be in there based on their first 5 inning records. However, one thing I really like to look at, and that's very, very critical, is obviously also the first 5 inning runs per game allowed. Now, top 5 overall, allowed in the first 5 innings. The Dodgers are only allowing 1.69 per game in the first 5 innings. San Francisco, 1.92. Houston, 1.96. Milwaukee, 2.00. And rounding it out, the Chicago White Sox, 2.04. As for the bottom 5 of the MLB, Kansas City, 3.04 average first 5 inning runs per game allowed. Cleveland Indians, 3.08. Arizona Diamondbacks, 3.12. Minnesota Twins, 3.16. And at the dead-ass last bottom, Baltimore Orioles, 3.36. Final closing thoughts here on the first 5 inning runs per game allowed. Top 5 at home and top 5 on the road. Top 5 at home for the first 5 inning runs per game allowed. You have the New York Mets, 1.26. Not surprising with that rotation at home. White Sox, once again with that rotation, 1.60 average at home. Dodgers, 1.66. Philadelphia Phillies, 1.93. And rounding out the top 5 run per game allowed at home, Milwaukee Brewers, 1.94. And closing everything out here before I tell you the site and where you can go and find all these as they continuously get updated. Top 5 on the road. Los Angeles Dodgers, 1.72 first 5 inning runs per game allowed. San Francisco Giants, 1.74. Houston Astros, 1.88. Oakland Athletics, 1.88. And the Milwaukee Brewers, 2.07. So there you go. That officially now does it for my first 5 inning runs per game allowed, and other stats: win, loss, over, under. Now, if you want to check out the first 5 inning runs per game and runs per game allowed, they're a little bit hard to find, but giving them to you right now. So you can head over to teamrankings.com, click on the MLB drop-down tab. It'll take you to the MLB, and then on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of different other sub-tabs. On the left side, you're going to hit Stats, the first one, All Stats, then it's going to take you to another page. Then you'll hit Other. Told you, it's hard to find. Other is going to drop down a boatload of stuff, and all the way down at the bottom, you're going to see first 5 inning runs per game and opponent first 5 inning runs per game. So that breaks down everything for you. It's a little bit hard to find. They also have, it's a little confusing. It shows on their first inning run per game, and it'll make you think that you're looking at the first 5, but you're really looking at the 5th inning run. So make sure you look first 5 innings per game. Make sure you see it there. So that's where I find all of that on Team Rankings and consistently stay updated on that. But that officially does it, like I said, for all of my first 5 stats. Now, we got more to get into. That's it for me for now. I'm going to kick it over to my partner. I need a little bit of high quality H2O. Been rocking and rolling here for quite some time. Now, sticking with Team Rankings, one of our favorite sites to use. They have great insights and analysis as far as home, away, home dog, away dog, vice versa with favorites, and then dogs, favorites, everything in general. They break it down for win-loss, run line, over-under, everything in between. So we utilize that quite often, and my partner has a boatload of all that stuff to get into and tell you guys about some key trends he believes that you should take a look at. So without further ado, partner, I feel like I haven't got to say this today because I haven't, and I need to because this episode of the TTL Pod, you have the floor.
Alrighty. So I'm going to bounce around here a little bit, get to some of the highlights for some stuff that I found today. Let's go through some home favorites this year. At the top of the list, we know how terrible they are on the road, but as a home favorite, leading the pack, the Colorado Rockies 15-3 to the money line as a home favorite. A few other non-surprises here. Giants 26-8, my White Sox 30-11, Rays 23-9, Dodgers at 30-14. As far as the bottom of the pack and home favorites, nothing super glaring on this one. Nobody's even that far. Nobody has that terrible of a home record. But the Braves a little bit disappointed, obviously 20-20. Blue Jays 13-14. So you hope those teams can turn things around. So when you're backing them at home, maybe give them a second look because it's not been as much of a sure thing as you would hope. Going to the home underdog spot. Your Cubs leading the pack at 10-4. When they are the dog in Wrigley Field, they can take care of business. The Mariners 20-11 as a home dog. They have been clipping along lately, adding to that number.
Some good numbers.
Right. Some other teams not as big of a sample size. The Mets 6-3, not as many spots where they're the home dog. Phillies 9-6. The Braves only 4-2. So their home record not that great. Not that many spots where they're the dog. Bottom of the pack, nothing too surprising here. The one that is a little surprising, Reds 2-7 as a home dog. Not so surprising, Diamondbacks 7-24, Orioles 12-26, but the Indians above 500 record overall, but 5-10 as a home underdog. Moving along through some away favorites. These are some interesting ones to take a look at. The A's are 15-7 as an away favorite. Your Cubs 8-4 as an away favorite, despite their not so great away record. Same with my White Sox. I'm not going to leave me out of this. 21-11 as an away favorite.
Okay.
Nats and Cards 7-4 as an away favorite. Some teams to look away from on the road as the favorite. Mets are 8-13 as an away favorite. They struggle away from Citi Field, even against the teams they're supposed to beat. Same thing with the Phillies at 4-8. Now some away dogs. These teams probably aren't in this spot that many times, but there's more numbers on them than you would expect. Away underdog, Astros 7-3, Brewers 15-7, Red Sox 15-8, Rays 15-9, Giants 15-10. So even if you see them in an underdog spot, unexpectedly they still take care of business. Now, to throw some shots at us here, partner, our White Sox and Cubs on the road as a dog. My White Sox 2-10, your Cubs 8-25 as an away dog.
Jeez.
Not what you want to see. And then some other non-surprises, Rockies 8-33, Diamondbacks 11-36. Those are pretty expected. The Twins 5-14 as an away dog. Still getting way too much value from these books. Take 5 looks at the Twins whenever you're betting on or against them. Royals 11-28, Texas 13-29. So some certain teams where if they're an away dog, take a look at these numbers, see where they're at, see where they've been at lately, because it might be a little different than what you would expect. Home run line on the season. Best teams on the run line. The Colorado Rockies 31-17. Your second team that you love. We've bet them a lot on the run line at home. 26-17 for the Giants. Tigers 24-19 actually at home. The Tigers coming out of nowhere lately.
24-19.
My White Sox 25-20. Mariners 27-22. Some teams here at the bottom though that you would not expect at home to the run line. The Reds 17-26 at home to the run line. The Twins 17-30. The Yankees 16-29. And the Braves 15-31 to the run line at home when they are favored by -1.5. Take a few looks at them, folks, because they are not winning like you would expect.
And it's interesting because they're winning, but they're just not covering that run line.
Exactly. So stay away from there, or at least take a few extra looks, depending on who's on the mound.
And if it's a -200 favorite at home, you don't have to take the -1.5.
Right.
Sometimes the books are doing that, so you will take the -1.5.
Exactly.
So
Great
maybe
point.
a couple of teams to fade on the run line when they're in that spot.
Yep. Great point. And then kind of furthering that that was home run line overall. So for the most part, they are going to be in that -1.5 spot. So I kind of misspoke a tiny bit there, but even still, home run line favorites. A couple other teams that are bad. Phillies 8-17. So that's a rough number. Mariners 5-13, believe it or not, on the run line in the favorite spot. So I did misspeak a little bit. If they are the underdog at home, they do take care of business. Against those really good teams, though, in Seattle, they're still struggling a little bit. So home run line underdogs, not too many teams that are bad. Padres actually 2-3, Reds 3-6, a little surprising there. Home run line underdogs, though, your Cubs 11-3, the Phillies 12-3, the Mets 7-2. So there are some teams that if they're in the +1.5 spot, definitely take a nice look at them because they have been getting the job done. Away run line overall, in the favorite spot here, some solid teams. -1.5 on the road. A's 14-8 actually. My White Sox 17-15. So nobody tearing the cover off the ball too much in that -1.5 spot on the road. Blue Jays 11-8, not bad either. Mets actually 5-16 on the road in that -1.5 spot. So if you get the Mets on the road with that -1.5, take another look.
Fade away.
That's a good one where you mentioned it's they want you to take the -1.5 because their pitching staff will probably get you in the spot where you want to, but that offense on the road.
Yeah, they leave a lot to be desired. And we all know about the DeGrom offensive curse. So
yeah. So last thing here on some money lines, interleague play. Money lines. You got the Padres in interleague play 8-1 so far versus the American League. Blue Jays 13-2, Red Sox 11-4, the Rockies actually 7-3. On the other end of the spectrum, Diamondbacks 0-7. They have not beat any American League teams this season quite yet. Marlins 2-10, Braves 2-10. Ugly stretch there. Orioles, that is 2-7, and then the Astros, Brewers, and Cardinals all at 2-5. So things are looking ugly when the American League teams come to town, or vice versa.
And that was Moneyline interleague games?
That is just Moneyline, yep.
Okay.
And now, kicking on to some over-unders. The 5 best teams to the over-under this season. Some pretty substantial numbers here. Twins, 55-31. Still a solid offense. Inconsistent at time, but that pitching staff is very ugly. The Angels, 52-36-1. Astros, 52-37-2. Indians, 49-35-3. And the Rays, actually, 48-39-3. I think their numbers are typically a little lower, and they still handle business there to the over. And on the other end of the spectrum, the Nats are 31-55-3 to the over. Your Cubs coming in second, 36-49-5. Rockies at 39-49-2. That's right, the Colorado Rockies in Coors Field. Now, this is not at home 100% here, but one of the bigger under teams, actually. The Marlins 38-46-5, and the Mets 37-44-3.
Those Rockies have had a lot of totals set between 10 and 12.
Even when you catch them on the road, people just still see the Rockies and they think over,
Yeah.
And so to further that, at home, over under, the Rockies, I'll start at the bottom here. Not the worst team by any means, but even in Coors Field, 21-25-2. So just because it's in Coors Field does not mean that over is going to scorch through. like you mentioned, oftentimes it's a double-digit one. If you can catch them once a series where you get the under, get your money and get out, because that seems to be the trend. Typically, there is one or two unders per series in Coors Field. But now the best teams at home: Angels 29-16-1, Orioles 27-15-1. The D-backs 26-16-1, the Indians 25-16-2, and the Twins 28-8-1. So some teams that are mediocre to bad at the top of that over/under list. And so you kind of see where those teams that have some rough pitching staffs, you can kind of count on them to hit the over, because they typically also have a decent offense.
Right.
Mets and Nats at the very bottom of the over/under pack, 13-33 at home for the Nats, and 12-27-1 for the Mets. That pitching staff escalates when they're in Citi Field. And lastly here, over/under on the road. Twins 27-13-2 to the over on the road. Mariners 26-15-1. Rays 27-16-2. The Mets actually on the road, solid over team, 25-17-2, and the White Sox 26-18. Your Cubs, the lowest or the best under team on the road, I should say, 16-23. Nothing else too crazy here. Rockies another 18-24. So unexpectedly, this Rockies team is actually an under team. And the Blue Jays actually on the road, 19-28-1. That's one that I did not expect. I guess their numbers are a little higher. And the Braves and A's also some decent under teams. And then last and final thing that I wanted to mention, if you catch some teams here with one day off, if you give them a day's rest, the Cardinals are 10-1-1 to the over after a day off.
Okay.
Big number there.
Okay.
And on the flip side, with the day off, the Nationals are 1-11 to the over.
Okay.
So they have hit the over once in 12 tries when they've got a day off. So nobody else had anything major to report on there, but for whatever reason, that Cardinals team with the day off, they come out scorching in game one of the series. And on the flip side, the Nationals, I don't know, I didn't dive deeper into it, whether it's their offense that sucks after a day off or if their pitching staff, that's all they needed. I don't know. But that's what we got.
Hey. Well, thank you, partner. I do believe you gave us some very, very solid value there across the board as far as money line, run line, over under trends. I mean, you got all the way into home away dog, home dog. You did the whole damn thing. So I hope you guys were tuned in, took note of a few key teams. Sounds like the Rockies are an under team, surprisingly. Sounds like the Cubbies are an under team as well. Cubbies really good as a road dog. Also really good at Wrigley as a dog. So, the White Sox, not so good on the road as a dog. I apologize. Cubs aren't good on the road as a dog either. Some really key things to kind of think about there with some teams that are good to back, but you got to back them in the right spot.
And that Rockies, typically when you have a trend like that where they start to be an under team, I would not imagine the books are going to adjust those Rockies numbers at home either. People see Rockies at Coors Field, especially because they are good at home, so that even fuels more of that.
Right. Let's
go over here, but not the case always, folks. Not the case.
Not the case. So hope you got a lot of value there. I know I did. I was taking mental notes the whole time you were speaking there, my friend, writing a few little things here down there. Appreciate you dropping all that knowledge down for us. Let's wrap up quickly here the third segment of the first half of the show, and we'll have a quick Rants and Reactions motivation minute. We won't spend too much time because we have been gabbing to you guys for quite some time all about MLB, and who knows how much more sports we can even talk. But diving into a few last closing thoughts and trends here. Wanted to give you some key things I think you should take note of going forward as far as some team leaders and some player leaders for some different statistical categories. So let's jump into it. What am I talking about here? First thing that I think you should take a look at is the team pitching leaders so far. Now, this is based on ERA for the leaders. Top 5 in the MLB right now, you have the Dodgers with a 3.14 ERA, 212 average allowed, 285 OBP, and a 640 OPS. Then you got the Giants right behind them, 326 ERA, 220 average, 284 OBP, and a 643 OPS. Coming in at third, the Padres, surprising to see them there. They actually have a very good ERA despite a few little struggles from some of the guys in their rotation. 3.37 ERA, 225 average, 301 OBP, and a 681 OPS. Might be surprising to you, but not surprising to either one of us because we backed them a shitload this season, and I think you should take note of this. Miami Marlins coming in at number 4 for top 5 pitching leaders right now. 3.43 ERA, 227 batting average allowed, 301 OBP, and a 665 OPS. So some of those arms, Alcantara, Trevor Rogers, and Pablo Lopez. Actually, Pablo Lopez struck out the first 9 batters he saw yesterday. Those guys are pretty doggone dominant in that Miami rotation. And then rounding it out, we just talked about it a bunch right there in my partner's analysis. New York Mets, number 5 team leaders in pitching right now, 3.43 ERA, 223 batting average allowed, 297 OBP, and a 662 OPS. Now, I'm not going to dive in deep into the average, the OBP, and the OPS for the bottom 5 teams, but I will tell you the ERA, and you just got to trust me for the sake of time that they are absolutely bad in those categories as well. Baltimore, dead last in the league, 5.60 ERA right now. Their starting pitching rotation is struggling up and down. Arizona, 5.46 ERA. Kansas City Royals, 5.15 ERA, which is surprising with some of the young prospect talent that they have on that team. Just hasn't really showed up yet this season. Minnesota Twins, 4.99 ERA, and the Los Angeles Angels, 4.89 ERA. They do have a few shaky starters in that rotation who me and my partner do like to fade from time to time. So some bottom pitching teams there I think you should take note of. Now, not only in a game of baseball do we have a starting pitcher, but depending on how that starting pitcher goes, we might have to get into the bullpen.
Chances are,
So let's talk a little bit about the bullpens here. Top 5 bullpens right now in the MLB. You have the Padres with a 2.85 ERA and a 1.16 whip. The Tampa Bay Rays with a 3.35 ERA and a 1.15 whip. Next up is the Cleveland Indians in number 3, 3.35 ERA, 1.28 whip. Little bit, actually not this one is surprising. The San Francisco Giants, 3.38 ERA with a 1.13 whip. And the Miami Marlins bullpen coming in at number 5, backing up their starting rotation, 3.38 ERA, very similar to the 3.43 ERA that their starters have right now with a 1.17 whip. Bottom 5 bullpens. The dead-ass last team once again, the Orioles. Bullpen is just as bad as their rotation, 5.03 ERA with a 1.40 whip. Cincinnati Reds, 5.15 ERA with a 1.42 whip. They have been able to do it early in the games, and then their bullpen lets them down. Something for you to think about going forward here in the second half of the season. Colorado Rockies, this has been one of the reasons that they have lost so many games on the road. Their bullpen is 3rd worst in the MLB, third worst in the MLB, 5.29 ERA with a 1.52 whip right now. Good. Detroit, 2nd worst in the MLB right now, 5.41 ERA coming out of that bullpen with a 1.52 whip as well. And then rounding out the bullpens right now, dead last in bullpen ERA, you have Arizona with a 5.53 and a 1.55 whip. So some bullpens that I think you should take stock of if you are planning on betting on a particular matchup. Another thing you got to factor in the MLB and why it is so fickle is, hey, not only do we have to worry about starters, but we got to start thinking about these relief pitchers as well.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that Tigers team alone, we talked about it earlier, how they've had some success in the first 5. I think that might be the move right now for the Tigers until things get straightened out because their bullpen was starting to pitch a little better, but as we saw over the weekend against the Twins,
and if it makes you,
I think it's fallen right back into that bad category for the bullpen.
And if it makes you comfortable, take the half on the run line. I mean, I'm confident in their money line, but you've been getting their half run line in the first 5 for plus money quite often. So very valuable bet to take a look at here as we go into the second half of the season. Now, not only do we have pitchers, both of the starting and relief variety, that like to make the appearance on the diamond, but we got some guys swinging the sticks as well. So how about some team hitting leaders, some teams I think you should take stock of going into the second half of the season, some guys that I think are going to continue to trend up and some teams that are going to trend down. Top 5 overall. Not surprising. You got Houston, 269 average with a 783 OPS, ripping the cover off the ball. Toronto right behind them, not surprising at all either, 264 average with a 776 OPS. Boston right behind them have really started to heat up here recently. 259 average with a 762 OPS. The Angels find themselves right behind them for their record struggles and everything injury-wise they've struggled so far this season. They've still been able to make very solid contact, coming in with a 257 average and a 759 OPS. I don't want to say it, but I'm sure Shohei Ohtani is definitely a big contributing factor to that. White Sox rounding out the top 5 hitting leaders right now based on average, 257 average as well with a 756 OPS. Bottom 5 right now, some teams I think you should fade at the plate going forward into the second half of the MLB season. Cleveland Indians, 230 average with a 698 OPS. St. Louis Cardinals, also 230 average with a 681 OPS. If how it goes, how I'm thinking, this third team here, the Chicago Cubs, hopefully get things turned around, but 227 average with only a 700 OPS. Milwaukee Brewers, surprisingly, leading the Central, but behind them, bottom 5 right now, actually second worst in the MLB in average, 219 and a 691 OPS, and then dead ass last right now. Hopefully they can get some stuff turned around because they have a solid record to be able to possibly do something. The Seattle Mariners, 216 average and a 669 OPS.
Yeah, I mean, those last two kind of lend into what I was talking about earlier, to where I think the Brewers, if the Reds make a couple of the right moves, could catch them, because that offense is a little, on the entire season, I think they might just be in a hot streak right now. And then same thing with the Mariners. I don't want to mistake a hot streak I don't want to mistake them being, all of their offense's concerns fixed. It could just be a nice little hot streak for them. So.
It could be, but I don't know. A little something you should think about there. Maybe a few of those turn around, maybe a few of them don't. But I wanted to let you know about some averages and some OPSs going on right now. On base plus slugging for your MLB newbie stat lovers. Moving right along, just wanted to touch briefly on some teams that I think are worth a solid bet going forward for the rest of the season, because if you only bet these specific teams, you would be up a substantial amount of money on the money line. So top 5 teams in that category, money leaders right now based on a $100 better. Giants, number 1, 57 and 32. You would be up $2,001 if you bet every single one of their money lines. Seattle Mariners, 48 and 43, up $1,923. They have covered some serious plus money Pauly odds there. The Boston Red Sox coming in at number 3, 55 and 36, up 1,524. Have had a couple of very short underdog spots that they've been in, actually a handful of those spots. Tampa Bay Rays coming in at number 4, 53 and 37, 1,035 you would be up. And then the Houston Astros rounding out the top 5, 55 and 36. A $100 better would be up $594. And the only other 2 teams that are above $500 earned on the season so far, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds, and they are just barely above that. Everybody else is below. Some teams I think are worth fading based on how much money they have lost you this season if you bet $100 for the second half of the season. Arizona Diamondbacks, 26 and 66, down $3,371. If you've been a Diamondbacks fan trying to get them back on the winning train, I am sorry. Baltimore Orioles, not even anywhere close to that, which is how crazy and how bad the Diamondbacks have been. Baltimore, 28 and 61, down 1,878 if you back them on the money line all season long. Minnesota Twins, 39 and 50, down 1,837. Kansas City Royals, 36 and 53 overall record, down 1,287. And the New York Yankees, 5th on the list, 46 and 43 record, but you would be down $1,008 if you had backed the Yankees all year on their money line.
Yeah, I mean, you could, someone that might be trying to get into betting would say like, oh, well, maybe I should bet every single game now on the Giants or something like that. Well, at this point in the game, you might be a little bit behind on that because now their odds are a little straightened out and a little bit tougher to win. Or you could say, hey, maybe I got to pick a team at the beginning of the season. Well, as evident, a team that should have been good or expected to be good, like the New York Yankees, you'd be down $1,000. So tough to pick those types of things out at the beginning of the season or kind of jump on the train halfway in. So, maybe take not to say that there isn't anything to be learned from that by any means, but because there might be somewhere to jump in on some of those, but some of the other ones, I don't know.
Okay. Not really, for sure. Gotcha. Right alongside with you. What he said. Either way, told you about a little bit of pitching, a little starting and relief, a little bit of batting, gave you a little bit who's been winning the most money and who's been losing you the most money. How about who's the guys that have been winning you money and losing you money? Those starting pitchers, some guys that I think when you see them on the starting pitching rotation, they are getting the start. They are on the hill today. I think that you should back them in full force.
Yeah.
Number one, a guy you would not suspect, but I know all about because I have backed him time and time and time again so far this season. Kicking off the top 5 starting pitchers, money leaders, we are with Chris Flexen. He has a 12-4 record, and if you backed him with $100 in every single game, you'd be up $966. Coming in at number 2 is Casey Mize, 10-7 record, $948 up. Logan Gilbert, another Seattle Mariner pitcher, has been very, very solid at home so far this season. 8-2 record plus $932. Taijuan Walker coming in at number 4, 13-3 record plus $831. Aaron Savale, who's been on the IL for quite some time. Still up there. 12-3 record, $818 up. Anthony DeSclafani right underneath him. I wanted to say these next 2 guys because they are the closest to passing up Savale. DeSclafani is 13-5, up $798. And German Marquez, 12-6 for the Rockies, up $681. So a couple of guys, solid guys, 7 guys there I think that are worth a look, or at least 6 guys there I think are worth a look moving forward into the second half of the MLB season. But some guys I think that you should fade, and I have faded all season long and have won me some good money because of it. Number 1 overall, Jorge Lopez for the Baltimore Orioles, 4-14 on the season, down $893. JT Brubaker for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 4-12 on the season, down $784. Then you got Luis Castillo for the Cincinnati Reds, cleaning it up a little bit more here as of late, but started out the season ice cold, 6-13 record, down $721. Then you got Carlos Martinez, who too is starting to turn things around here or there, but is still very, very fadeable. He is 5-11 on the season, down $709. And rounding out the bottom 5 pitchers towards money on the season, Casey Smith over for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 1-8 record, down $694. So there you go, some pitching money leaders. Some guys I think you should look at to back and guys I think you should look at to fade. Last stop. The last group of fellas on the field, outside of the players and the coaches. Who do we got? We got the boys in blue, the umpires, the fellas who soon could be replaced by robots because of some of these horrendous calls. But it's also valuable to know a little bit about these guys behind the plate and on the base paths that aren't the players when you're thinking about what you're going to play here overall. Now, not as useful when it comes to money lines, right? I've learned. It's kind of a toss-up here or there.
Coincidences for the most part, any type of trends,
I would say so. But it is rather useful when playing over-unders because there are guys that will keep the whistle out of their mouths, if you will, as much as you can't do that on baseball, but they kind of let things ride. They'll have a little bit bigger of a strike zone, or they'll let kind of things go, oh, hey, maybe, yeah, we'll call that play safe. Just they push the envelope just a little bit more. So if you see any of these umpires behind the plate for a game you're wanting to bet on for the over, I suggest you hammer it in and take a serious look because I think it is a good play. Top 5 over-under leaders based on the over umpires this season. Sean Barber, 12-2 to the over when he's behind the plate. Jerry Meals has been one I've loved to back. Behind the plate, the total has gone over 10 times out of 12 times. Jerry Meals is 10-2. Brian Knight, 9-3 over-under record this season. Gabe Morales, 8-4 over-under record. Edwin Moscoso, 7-1 over-under record. Now, there's a handful of guys who are just getting into the rotation as we get here to the All-Star break and then into the second half of the season. One guy you need to take stock of, John Tumpane. Tumpane. He has the best over best record to the over when it comes to the over-under over the course of the last 5 seasons. He is already 3-0 this season and has consistently been a guy that goes to the over, especially when there is a large, considerable home favorite.
Okay.
John Tumpane is one you want to take note of there. And then some guys that I suggest you might want to play the under if you see them behind the plate, because I've had some success with that this season. Trip Gibson III, 0-10 over under. You see old Trippy G back behind the plate, you better hammer in that under. Marvin Hudson, 4-9 over under record. Sam Holbrook, 2-8. Pat Hoberg is also 2-8. And then Jim Wolf, 2-7 over under record so far this season. You know, I was going to dive into a whole bunch more stuff, but I feel like I covered just about doggone everything, single thing I could possibly there. Partner, you did a great job as far as the home, away, favorite dog, home favorite, home dog, all that jazz. I was going to dive back into that just a little bit more, but, I mean, you covered it so doggone well. I don't think there's anything else I can say.
Cruising right along.
Yeah, and we are about way past an hour and a half into the show, so honestly, I've covered so much here. We're just going to quick cap a few things. Well, actually, before we do, that is the first half of the show. That is our home run derby analysis, our future betting market analysis, and then all of the stats, trends, players, teams, leaders, everything in between. We think that you guys needed to take note of going into the second half of the MLB season. If you missed anything, hit that rewind button. We really hope that we gave you some solid value to take home here today, because, man, this is the exact things that we look at and helps us to be successful bettors. So we wanted to drop all of that on you today. So that wraps it up for the MLB. That is everything MLB, man, oh man. Did we dive deep right there, partner?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Okay, well, hey, if you were there for the entire first half, the MLB Special Edition, thank you so much. Once again, hope you got some serious value out of that. Let's wrap things up here. Second half of the show, just nice and quick, and then a little motivation minutes for you. First things first, it's time for the second half of the show. Today's Rants and Reactions. Ladies and gentlemen, few things we need to discuss here today. First things first, Max, are we in for a long Olympics when it comes to men's basketball?
You know, I don't think so.
I don't know if you know this, but they took a serious L to Nigeria over the weekend here.
They did. I didn't watch it. It's not pretty. It does not sound good.
It wasn't good.
I have to imagine they'll be okay going forward, but it's not a good look. I didn't go back and watch it. I have to imagine that they're just testing a few things out, playing around with some offenses. Who knows? But it's not a good look.
Not a good look at all here, folks. So you heard it here first on the TTL Pod. Team USA loses their first entry game into the Olympics here. Just a little
exhibition.
Just a little exhibition. You know, warming up the engines, if you will, getting them revved up. But still not a great look to be losing in an exhibition with the sheer run of dominance USA basketball has had over the last 2 decades, for crying out loud. So let's get it together here, boys.
Yeah, and I gotta call him out, Rob Perez, who's fantastic NBA analysis, but he tweeted out a picture of the starting lineup going into the game. Durant, Lillard, I think it was Beal, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, and he said, "Good luck, world." And then 2 hours later, ooh, yikes.
Yeah, it was a yikes and a half.
Yeah, you see that lineup, and it's like, all right, well, yeah, this is going to be a quick one, right?
No. Not whatsoever. So fingers crossed we do not have a long Olympics in store for USA men's basketball. Let's not get bounced early, please and thank you. No pun intended.
Nah, we'll be fine.
Moving right along into the PGA. You golf fans out there, close to us, just about an hour or so away over yonder, hour and a half away to our west, the John Deere Classic took place in Silvic, Illinois, Slavic, whatever. I don't know what the heck it's called, Slavic. That's not right. What the hell am I saying? Either way, it starts with an S. John Deere Classic took place. The young man, not young man. Actually, he is. I don't want to say he's older. He's not like on senior level championship yet, but he hasn't won a championship for a long, long time. I actually hadn't heard the name. Lucas Glover birdies 5 out of his last 7 holes to go into the clubhouse 19 under and hold that lead. With the next closest player still having 5 holes to play. Yeah,
it's an impressive win, my man. We'll see if it gets some momentum, but. Yeah, bit of a mixed field there. You had the Scottish Open going on, a lot of big names over there.
Yeah.
Min Woo Lee pulled that one out.
Very
Never
interesting.
heard of that guy.
And then Kepler and Fitzpatrick were the only two other names that were really worth note while that we really knew anything about.
John Rahm faded a little bit. I think he finished top 5 or top 7.
Weird. A little bit weird. However, that's all of that from this past weekend. But we got a solid one coming up here this upcoming week, starting on Thursday. The British Open, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Any odds worth noting for our fans out there?
Well, as I mentioned, Mr. John Rahm, favored to win back-to-back major championships. He's got plus 700 odds on this one. Played well this last weekend. Obviously didn't get the win, but he was still up near the top. So he is actually a pretty big favorite. Next closest, at least on DraftKings right now. We always like to look at both of them because it's especially with golf, you can definitely do some price checking. But Jordan Spieth, number 2 at plus 1,400, so big drop off. And then DJ and Rory and Brooks Koepka and Schauffele all at plus 1,800. Justin Thomas, who also I believe finished top 10, plus 2,000, so that's definitely worth a look there.
Okay.
DeChambeau plus 3,000. I am not touching that. He ain't playing well worth a shit right now. I ain't touching anything of him. I might even sprinkle a little make-miss cut on him if that is an option, which I do believe it is.
Should be.
But yeah, that's about it for those odds. Obviously, there's going to be a nice big field, nice big juicy field.
We'll dive into it a little bit later on in the week, probably Wednesday or so. We'll probably bring you a few more since it is a big Open Championship, we'll probably, Master Championship. We need it.
Wednesday, there still probably won't be too much, so we'll probably have a nice big segment on.
Honestly,
on this one for sure.
Honestly, there won't be a whole lot going on Wednesday. So if you're a big fan of the golfs, make sure you tune in on Wednesday. Maybe. I don't know. That's pretty far-fetched. I was thinking maybe we get a special guest secured, but that's,
I don't know about that. But
that's pretty. We'd have to pull some damn serious strings to turn that around. We're nowhere near big enough or have enough pull to be able to do that shit yet.
I'll go into it later, but Bryson plus 275 to miss the cut. Book it.
Okay, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it here now and early. We'll be talking about all of the British Open plays and props you should be taking a look at come Wednesday's show, so make sure you stop by. Another quick pit stop. The 8-sided circle. If you did not watch UFC 264 this past weekend, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, you missed one. Not enough time to break down the whole doggone card like we always do. Might have some time coming up when we do another full fight card breakdown this upcoming Friday, because we have Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises. Huge. If you are a fight fan, that is a huge fight, and another stacked card for being a fight night. These fight nights have been absolutely electric. So you thought that I just break down the pay-per-views? No. Here at the TTL Pod, every single fight night, every single pay-per-view gets broken down. We give you the props, we give you the straight plays, and the main card parlay. No questions asked. So make sure you stop by Friday's show. We'll be kicking off the Rants and Reactions with a full UFC Fight Night card breakdown, props, main card parlay, everything in between. But back to UFC 264. Quite the evening we had. Boy,
sure was.
Oh boy. The feature prelim was pretty doggone solid. Michel Pereira and Nico Price.
Yep.
That ended up being a scrap and a half.
Sure was.
Both those guys did exactly what I pretty much said they would do. That was actually my fight of the night. Ended up being the real fight of the night, Dana White's fight of the night, and all the guys got $75,000 bonuses. It pays to fight on a Connor card, let me tell you that. They gave it to Sean O'Malley and Chris Moutinho, which I think is more than deserving. Moutinho ate some of the nastiest shots that I've seen O'Malley throw in the cage, and he would not go down. A lot of people are bitching, moaning, and complaining about that Herb Dean stoppage, like Herb Dean's losing his edge or whatever. You all can piss off and pound sand, because that fight could have been stopped in the first damn round, for crying out loud. Some of the bombs that Sugar Sean, I am not upset with that stoppage at all.
No, I mean, he appeared to be inhumane. His face appeared to be a brick stone, because the guys were nailing the analysis of it, in the middle of the show. He kept moving forward.
He's a freaking zombie. He wouldn't back up, dude. He just wouldn't back up.
Right, and Sugar Sean was dancing on him. He was crossing him over. I thought he was getting the highlight, just finishing. Obviously, that's what he wanted, but good grief, man.
Yeah, it definitely went a lot farther than I think Sugar or anybody in his corner thought. And I think, man, I told you guys, I said this Chris Moutinho does not look phased at all by this. No. And he came in, I think Chris Matino is going to be somebody we need to take
I'm
note of
excited
going forward, because he bit down on the mouthpiece, put the head down, kept walking forward regardless of what was getting thrown his way.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited to
that
watch
was
him
huge.
fight against somebody on his level.
That was huge. Yeah, I am too, because I think
he was, I mean, he not that he was. I didn't think he had
was-
any real chance. He threw
No.
a couple shots in there.
yeah,
though.
I mean, he looked okay.
Sure.
He looked okay to be in there with the Sugar Show. Let me
Sure.
just say that. Then we moved along into Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. Irene Aldana getting that victory. I'm actually a little pissed off about that, to tell you the truth, because not only did that bust my fucking main card parlay, which obviously I'll be a little bit upset about that, but Irene Aldana missed weight. And she was about to get a fight of the night bonus before one of the media members told Dana, who should be up to date on this shit, that she missed weight. He was talking her up and down and this and that and left, right, and center. He was like, you know, she missed weight, right?
I missed
And he
this.
was like, oh, wow, I'm really fucking up in it, ain't I? And everybody started laughing, and he's like, wow, maybe I need to really go back and look at everything I just said. Okay, yeah, that's why she looked that dominant against Yana. Okay, for sure, I'll go back.
Damn,
and
I missed all
so,
that.
I mean, it does play a huge factor when you're coming
Sure.
in weighing 5 more pounds
'Cause she
than
looked
somebody. She looked so much bigger than Yana,
Yeah.
and she did it. Just with ease. I mean, the fight
Yeah.
was so easy for her, and Yana came out looking really good. And I truly believe that if Irene didn't have those extra pounds, that she would have lost that fight.
You think so?
The way Yana came out with her striking ability is just bar none. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I am biased because it broke the main card parlay, but man, that to lose it on somebody who missed weight is kind of bullshit. And the only fighter to miss weight on that card, and that is your one job to do. The one thing you got to do is make weight.
Right.
That's just kind of inexcusable in my book. But
Yeah.
there you go. There you have it. Moving right along, our boy, the Shoey legend, Tai Tuivasa, taking on Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy was getting booed out of the T-Mobile Arena, and he was loving every minute of it. Thought
Put
he
him
was
to
going to
sleep.
come in. He caught Tai Tuivasa. Tai got the noodle legs for sure, backed up a few steps, smiled a little bit. You always know when some of the baddest dudes on the planet give a little smile in the cage that they are rocked. They are feeling it right now. And he stepped back, planted that right foot, and threw a missile right at the forehead of Greg Hardy. And Greg Hardy went sleep.
Yep.
And I don't know where Greg Hardy's career goes from here. Tai was going to be a very big name, a name that he needed to get. He's now 7-4. So obviously career's not over by any means, but his shots getting ranked as this heavyweight division continues to just steam on along. His shots are kind of diminishing here. He's got to get a couple of high-quality wins, and Tai Tuivasa would have been a big win for him.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if he kind of went back a little bit, started reaching down a little bit, trying to get a couple wins under his belt.
He needs to, for sure. Then we had the co-main. Honestly, pissed me off. Kind of a boring-ass fight. Should have been a lot better. I think a good majority of that is at fault to Gilbert. You had Gilbert Burns versus the Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson. I went and watched it again. Short of a few critical ground strikes landed, and honestly, for the high level that Gilbert Burns is, he really didn't put on a jiu-jitsu practitioner against a guy who's a taekwondo / kickboxer. It was a very boring fight to me. I thought, and typically I don't say that about 3-round scraps. I like a good decision. I like a good point battle. I'm a fight fan, but it was a disappointing fight to me, man. And you know, I think Stephen Thompson still deserves a hell of a lot of shot. You had Gilbert standing in the cage at the very end, calling out Nate Diaz, calling out Jorge Masvidal, calling out Leon Edwards. Like, whoa, big dog. Like, why are you calling them out? What do you need with Nate Diaz? What is Nate Diaz going to do to advance your career? You're just trying to fight the big names that are fighting so you can get the big money fight. That's all that call out is, because none of those guys are in any type of contention or running for number one contender right now because of how everything's going. Usman gave Jorge his shot.
Right.
That's done. That's over with. Leon could potentially have a shot.
He probably wants a bigger shot than Burns.
Yeah, he wants a bigger shot than Burns. He's not going to. I bet you his next fight would be for a title rather than Burns. And then just making a Nate Burns fight makes no logistical sense whatsoever. Like it makes no sense.
Right.
And Nate's not going to take that fight against Gilbert Burns. He's not going to take that. Only thing he's going to take is a 5-round war at this time.
Yeah.
So where does Gilbert Burns go? I don't know, because it was that lackluster and that boring. I think 150 or 170. No. Yes, 170 is very, very good for him. He was killing himself going down to 155, but I think we start to see some of the same struggles. I just don't think he is as elite and high level as we all kind of thought he would be. So that's my 2 cents on the co-main. Last but not least, main event of the evening, Connor versus Dustin, the trilogy. We all know how it ended. Connor snapping his ankle. I think I knew it before you or our other buddy knew it, that anything had happened. Like I saw it on the kick and him step back and I was like, oh my gosh, his ankle's broken. I think his ankle's broken.
Yeah, he came after
and nothing
watching
like
it,
nothing like nobody really reacted. And I was like, bro, his ankle's broken. And I saw him not get on the stool in the corner. I was like, oh yeah, something's really, really wrong. And then he pointed at his ankle and I was like, holy shit, it's really broken. I think it's broken. And then they moved it and just did this. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And we all lost our mind. Obviously, yeah, you can't put a stamp, a seal on that. Both guys said, oh, if we got to continue in the parking lot or in the sidewalk, whatever. Both guys are saying that. So obviously this fight is not done. Now, logistical wise, Conor McGregor on crutches for at least 6 weeks, and then he starts rehab. After that is complete, in between now and then, you have the Dustin versus Charles Oliveira fight. Charles Oliveira is actually coming in. The odds are out for that. Charles Oliveira is actually coming in as the underdog in that fight, plus 145 dog to minus 160 as Dustin the favorite.
Steep,
seems very steep. I think that's a great, valuable spot to pick up. Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. If you ever hear me refer Do Bronx, that is who I am referring to. So after that fight, then depending on...
Well, it did seem like Dustin. It didn't sound like Dustin was rearing to get back in the cage.
No, he's not.
Real quick
he's not at all. He's not at all. It's going to be sometime before we even see that fight between those two guys. And then after that, Connor's healed up, whatever. You fight the fourth fight, I guess, between him and Dustin. Now, logistically, when you do that, how does that? I mean, the fight game is all about timing. It's not about you have to make this fight, you have to make that fight. It's all about timing. So it's going to be a while.
I think it's going to be a minute, man.
But
I think, like
are we going to see it? Yes, we will see it. So don't worry, that's not how that this saga is going to end. That's not the closing chapter, put a period on it, it's a wrap. But it is going to be quite some time before we see Conor McGregor back in the cage again. And actually, I retweeted the video of it on my personal page. It was off of a teep kick that the tibia was broken. So it was a tibia fracture, clean fracture of his tibia, and it was on a teep kick. So what you want to do, what a teep kick is a front kick. So where you bring your leg up and push it out forward, typically right in the chest. That kick you see, that's the Muay Thai terminology for that kick. He threw a teep kick, and that was actually, per his coach Kavanaugh, that was a huge part of his game plan. And when he threw it a little short, and that's one of the biggest no-nos when he threw it short, because guys will typically come down in some motion like this to try and get a little bit of a block on it. And when Dustin did that, he brought his elbow down, and right on the tibia is where his elbow hit. And you see Conor come down real gingerly on it, and it's in slow motion. You see it full speed, you don't see it, but in slow motion you see Conor just like he kind of jumps. He just like, oh, that's not good, that wasn't right, oh fuck. And just that twist, throwing that punch and coming back down on it, that did it.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's my 2 cents. I obviously, hey, we're going to see a fourth fight, but who knows when it'll be.
I was going to say, you mentioned timing, my man. I don't know if that timing is going to make sense within the next year or so. I really don't.
Who knows? Who knows it all? But we'll continue to cover every single UFC fight night, fight card, pay-per-view, everything in between. And one more reminder, make sure if at the very least you don't come around at all, come around for Friday's show. We'll have a full Makhachev versus Moises fight night card breakdown, props, straight plays, and the main card parlay. So there you go. There you have it. That does it for the UFC and the 8-sided circle. Couple other quick brief reminders, get you guys a little bit excited here. The National Football League kicks off officially under 2 months now, 59 days away, ladies and gentlemen. We are right around the corner. We were actually going to do an NFL special episode here today, but it's just a little bit too early. The buzz hasn't really generated. There's still a few odds and ends and things to tie up in that realm of things. So we'll bring you one here shortly. So just stay tuned for that. We will be bringing you an NFL Special Edition episode, because I'm sure there's going to be quite a few more of these days ahead, with only being MLB to bet on for the foreseeable future. So there you go. 59 days till the NFL starts. If you don't follow John Rothstein, or if you are not a follower of college basketball, you won't know this, but for all of our friends and followers who are just as big a nuts for the NCAA basketball season every single year, Boy, oh boy, 120 days left, my friend.
Baby.
It is right around the corner as well. A few short months away, 4 months, and we will be back betting college basketball. I cannot wait. Right alongside college football, CFB is coming right in the picture as well. You know the drill. That's our hot stuff. That's our hot seasons, our hot zones. We love college basketball, love college football, and love the NFL. So we cannot wait. We're even talking about props and stuff we played last year from the NFL. So make sure you definitely stick around for the foreseeable future. We'll get through the MLB season best we can, and then we will start running tickets to the window. It is nothing but cashing when we get into those seasons. So stick around for that. Outside of that, we talked about nothing but MLB all day long. If you're tuning in late, sorry, we gave you so much jazz to discuss. We ain't even touching that shit in the rants and reactions. Quick reminder, if you didn't get it, home run derby, futures betting market analysis, and then every single analysis, trend, insight you could possibly need to get you into the second half of the MLB season and becoming a successful bettor doing so. Outside of that, last quick spot we need to stop by. Couple little reactions, rants, hot takes here. Game 3 last night between the Bucks and the Suns, and Suns in 4 is no mo, and the Bucks handled business, partner.
They sure did, and I don't want to pat myself on the back because I'm now 1 out of 3 here on the NBA Finals. But yeah, the Bucks finally gave Giannis some help. He was incredible again. I think we're gonna keep seeing those performances from him because that's exactly what they need. And yeah, the rest of the team, Drew Holiday finally poured some shots in on the offensive end. Chris Middleton was a little bit better. I saw something that just felt so damn true. It was like the Chris Middleton cycle. It was like Chris Middleton is bad. He gets criticized from the media. Starts to play a little better. Chris Middleton is prime MJ, and then it's a whole cycle again. So yeah. I think Game 4 we see a big Chris Middleton game, my man, and I think the Bucks. Like I said the other day, don't be surprised if we're 2-2 going back to Phoenix for Game 5.
I think you're spot on, and I have nothing else to add or to argue with that whatsoever. You've been beating the drum, and I've just been kind of going right along because, hey, I'm just capping it, and I'm just throwing in a bet here or there. Loved the Bucks on the first half yesterday. Thought they would come out hot. They did cash that, and then cash the under. It was kind of wild.
That was a sweaty one.
It was a sweaty one.
That was a sweaty one.
I didn't think we could have 3 straight overs at the same exact point total. So took the under. Very, very nice. Cashed it there. But Game 4 coming up on Wednesday. We got 2 days. We got to wait here before we got more NBA action. So
Bucks -4 favorite once again for Game 4.
All right, already opened up at -4, and that has been a key number for favorites to cover so far in the NBA playoffs. So do we have a repeat of Sunday night? We think so here at the TTL Pod, but we will be sure to bring you all of our best bets on Wednesday's show and everything for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. But that does it for the NBA playoffs and the hardwood. That pretty much does it for the Rants and Reactions. Sheesh. That's about everything that we got to talk about here today. Quick reminder, we are full in the build of the Talking the Line Sports Media website. Game plan is to have it rolled out to you guys no later than by the end of the month, but I am busting my asymptotes to hopefully have that bad boy out sooner. Told you, I'm not an IT guy. Didn't go to school for web design, but definitely having some fun doing it, and I think we're going to deliver a badass product once it's all finished. Matter of fact, I know we are. It already looks badass as hell. So, reminder, everything you see coming straight out of our brains and being delivered right onto the screen to you. So, hey, any additional following support, if you got a degenerate pal who just gambles every once in a while and wants some winners, wants some additional analysis, tell them to stop by the TTL Pod, run some tickets to the window with us all night long. Hey, we like having newbies come around here. We like communicating with you guys. One thing I wanted to mention too, if you guys want to get live in the chat during the show, we love that as well. We'll answer any questions. We'll dive through. If we don't have a best bet coming from a play that you really want to know about for the day, drop it in the comments. We'll talk about it right here live on the show. That's the beautiful part about the TTL Pod. We get to do whatever the fuck we want. So, with all that being said, quick reminder, hit the link tree in this episode's description. You'll find all of our content and social platforms here at the TTL Sports Media. And in addition, we do have another link in there for you as well. Didn't get to bring them on the show here today, but our favorite, the Moneyline Dice. If you want to get your own dice and start rolling with us once we get back to regular shows, Bottom link you're going to see is the Moneyline Dice website, and we give you an offer code right there with the link as well. Code TTL10 is going to get you 10% off your first order on MoneylineDice.com. So check anything out there. None of the merchandise is off limits, and we get you 10% off. So go check out MoneylineDice.com. Once again, follow us on the Action Network app. You can follow me at cash_with_Colt and O'Reilly at RMags in all caps. And then the best bets of the day from the daily pod episodes at Talking the Line. Super easy. Outside of that, got some new shows, new things in the works. You know, it's just me and old partner here. So anything that is rolling out, we are working heavy on it. And it's one thing checked off the box at a time, because we are judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to all of this stuff. But we would have it no other way. We absolutely love doing this. We were so excited to bring you guys this special edition, and can't thank you enough for stopping by, hanging out with us every single day, helping us grow TTL Sports Media, helping us reach more people. I mean, our thanks is beyond words. We were more than juiced up to get this. We spent all weekend together watching the fights and stuff, and I mean, we were just more than juiced up to get right back on the show and get right back, see you guys again. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate it. So with all that being said, how about I repaid a little bit for him here?
Go ahead.
All right. A little bit of inspiration and motivation coming your way here, folks. My motivation minutes for today. Short and sweet, very concise. Probably could write for a mile on this topic, but this popped into my head, and I just wanted to give you guys some things to think about today and get you on into Monday. So I told you at the top, the title of today, the thought of today, the quote of the day, what I'm centering everything around, for lack of a better term, across everything. Stop assuming and start pursuing. What have you been assuming in your life? Not pursuing. What have you been assuming in your life? That society has put on you, that you're not good enough, you don't measure up, you'll never be able to do this because of who you are or where you were born into or what you've done. Or maybe it's something you're assuming that you've put on yourself. Oh, my dad never was good at this, so I'll never be good at this. Or my mom was never able to accomplish this, so I can never accomplish this. Or my family's always had this curse, so I can never be able to do anything in that field. That we're cursed there. Or maybe it's something that somebody else has put on you. Oh, you're never good enough. You put out this content, that's trash content. Whatever the case might be, what assumptions are you allowing to permeate your life? And if you are allowing them to, I'm here to tell you that it is one of the worst things you could possibly be doing, is allowing assumptions to rule and control your life. To allow things that are made up by society, by your own brain, or by others to dictate the direction that your life goes into. Stop assuming that those things are true and start pursuing your passions. Stop playing into all those things that are not even true, that I've told you before. Your limitations are your imagination. There is nothing that can stop you in this world unless you allow it to. So today, I want you guys to just start pursuing full force. There is no assumption that can stand in your way. You are good enough. You do have the ability. And if you can dream it, you can make it happen. We're living proof of that. So I got G4 classification, as I always say, to talk about things like this. Now is your time to pursue. There was a time when me and Riley assumed, we'll never measure up to some of these top handicappers in the industry. Who knows if we can actually go live on YouTube? Who knows if we'll actually be able to have a show and have viewers? We assumed that, but we pushed those assumptions to the side and just decided to pursue. Don't live in what if. Don't wonder what could have been, because that's a shitty life. Wondering what could have happened if you just tried or just took the first step in pursuing. What other doors could have opened up and maybe shown you that the thing you were trying to chase after wasn't right for you, but look at these 10 other things that came because you tried to pursue that. So that's my soapbox, my motivation minutes for the day. I want you guys to stop assuming, regardless of what assumption it is. If society's, your own inside your brain, somebody else's close to you or far away from you, whatever assumption that is, stop assuming and start pursuing. That does it for my motivation minutes for today.
That's some good stuff, my man. Can't add too much. I can't add too much to it. You nailed it.
Well, I appreciate it. That, I don't really plan these bad boys. They kind of come on my heart in the morning during some of my morning prayer and meditation. And, okay, that's what I got to drop down. And I don't really bullet point. I mean, you can look right at the doggone agenda. I don't bullet point. I don't detail anything out. It's straight from the heart. It's straight from my mind. It's what I want to give you. And it's things that have helped me be somewhat successful in this thing called life. And, partner, what's my definition of success?
Happy, center, fulfilled.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Not money, not cars, not clothes, not houses. Being happy, center, and fulfilled. So let's go chase some success here today. That does it for my motivation minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And that does it. If you've stuck around for the last 2 hours, that does it for episode number 78 of the TTL Pod, this MLB All-Star Break Special Edition on July 12th, 2021. I'm not going to waste any more time. It's time to stop wasting time your own self. We gave you enough of a mental vacation here today. Go on and get back about your Monday. Get some tasks completed. If you really did spend the last 2 hours with us, I don't know what you're doing, but hey, thank you so much for doing so and getting some great information and knowledge along the way. As always, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates and gamblers far and wide, for myself and Mags, thank you so much again for stopping by episode number 78 of the TTL Pod. Thank you all for all of your support, your following, your comments, and everything in between. We hope you have a spectacular rest of your Monday, unless you have other plans. Even though we ain't got many of them, we still got to say it. Let's cash some tickets.